series, but they still went on a full game series and now trying to secure the M5 ticket, trying to prove that their region stands toe-to-toe against everyone else.
These are two very young regions, Both sides have played for a long time to get to this point. Defender, a veteran, Mitch himself, making sure that he has accomplished so much with the team in such a short period of time in their professional careers. But now this is where things are going to be put to the test here in the Land of Dawn.
It's time to set the stage here as the fifth bumps will commence between these two teams to show their sportsmanship, because we are going to be witnessing some bloody battles upon the Land of Dawn. Two sides, 5 players on each team, eager to demonstrate their potential to the world.
All right, with that being said, let's get to know the teams a little bit more personally. Coming in from Lil Gun, it's going to be back to the gold lane. Xura in the jungle position, Ethan in roam, Forbid in mid, and Aizen as their EXP laner.
I mean, there are a lot of big hero pools they can make use right here, especially for Forbid here. They have a big hero pool, so I think if they try and use that to their advantage here, try and confuse the opposition, this is something that they can definitely make use of, trying to, just obscure how they want to build their composition.
All right, introducing their opponents from the Umbrella Squad. It's Black Marsh, Marl, Castle, Troublemaker, as well as AFK. Now, this is going to be an interesting matchup because I wanted to bring this up later, but I think a good time is going to be now. Umbrella Squad, they did play a full 5-game series up against Duval in the MCC. Against a team like Lil Gun, they're going to need an advantage, right? You mentioned this earlier, Stafa.
Yeah, that is true. In fact, it wasn't actually 5 games. It was 7. It was a best of 7. They nearly reverse swept. They were down 3-0. They evened it up to 3-3 and just happened to drop the last game, showing that they have a lot of potential on the Land of Dawn. But overall as a team, I think that there's still a lot of evolution and growth that is necessary. And I will say that going into this matchup specifically, they're definitely the underdogs just in terms of experience and hero pool.
All right, all right. That being said, little experience from either side when we're talking about an international level event with so much weight to it, right? This may be the wild cards, but I think every team here is taking this as seriously as they can, being flown out to Malaysia to play this live up on stage and a chance to go to the Philippines for M5.
I think that's the main consideration right here, the lack of experience from both teams. We've seen that with a lack of experience, you can still pull out great drafts, great game plans, theoretically, but once you get into that mid-game where it's all about the split-second adjustments, the split-second decisions as well, this is where teams with a lack of experience kind of stall out a bit, and maybe the performance starts dipping around that 12 to 13-minute mark.
Well, I don't know about this, because when we're looking at the audience predictions, we're seeing a lot of the regions leaning in towards Lil Gun and not so much into the Umbrella Squad. Well, I mean, the closest would be Malaysia here with 42% to 68%. So, once again, 110% for the Malaysian home favorites.
Wow. The Malaysian fans are always giving 110% here to support their team. But I do like that there's some supporters for Umbrella Squad in the audience as well. Hopefully they'll be able to transmit the energy necessary for their team and their players to do their best in the Land of Dawn.
Hey, what's going on here? It looks like a lot of teams are actually leaning into Lil Gun's overall performance compared to the Umbrella Squad. Even the EECA, for some reason, 39%?
Usually we see regions really go and back up their teams, especially their own regions, but that's not what's going on right here. And actually, for Vietnam and America right here, that's where people are just voting heavily in favor of Umbrella Squad.
Yeah.
Quite unexpected.
I mean, it really depends which side of the world you're from. You're going to be supporting one team or another, but nothing really changed the fact that the impact that Lil Gun has made in the international scene with one performance, well, not even one performance, I would say 2 to 3 at this point, has really kind of skewed the minds of the world.
Yeah, it's not just even the audience as well, right? A lot of the pro players and coaches that we've interviewed today seem to think very highly of the Mongolian representatives here. So I think there's going to be a lot to prove on the stage. Will they be able to live up to the hype? So let's have a little look at our predictions.
Starting from the left, Stafa, you're going to say 2-0 to the 2-0 to Lil Gun. I said 2-1 in favor of Lil Gun, 1 to Umbrella Squad, and Arashi also leaning towards Lil Gun's side. Same as mine, 2-1. What do you think it's going to be a 2-1, not a clean sweep?
I feel like the difference in performance so far, right? I think both are inexperienced, but Mongolia has impressed more people overall so far with their performances. So I think compared to that, Umbrella Squad, they still got to prove themselves a bit more before they can really be considered at the same level. So that's how I went with the 2-1, which is why it's not a complete 2-0, by the way. I feel like they still have a chance of surprising us for at least one game. But, it seems like Staffa here is completely confident in the Mongolians.
Now, I'm curious to know why exactly, right? Because again, we've seen the Mongolians, we've seen them play, but then what is Umbrella Squad lacking? Is this another situation of rock, paper, scissors, and once again, or are we talking about like they are clearly missing one element of the game?
I think this is not really a rock, paper, scissors situation. This, in my opinion, is a case of a team that just looks way better on paper as compared to the other. I'm not saying Umbrella Squad is weak. I'm saying that the Mongolia has performed at a different level than every other wildcard team.
All right, let's see which advantages are going to be leaned into, which lanes are going to be prioritized, and what battle strategies they're going to be bringing out to the table in this best of 3. We're going to be having Umbrella Squad on blue side and Lil Gun on red side.
Starting it off, the box share and the 1-1 banned away by Umbrella Squad. They don't want to deal with this outplay potential and the early game, this roaming speed. For Lil Gun though, they're banning away heavily towards the roamer side. And we'll see how this approach works out, because usually when teams are unfamiliar with each other, the roamers are where they really center their focus. But not for Umbrella Squad, even the Nolan, so they're really concerned about these high mobility outplay heroes too.
I feel like Umbrella Squad has done research. Same goes to Lil Gun as well. Matilda, totally understandable. But then we start going in towards the Kaja. This is, again, a little more particular towards Fangor's side and as well as the Joy.
So right now what I'm seeing are that the bans are pretty default from both these teams. They're still testing the waters, they're still figuring things out. I personally feel the drafting phase is going to be a little bit more important for Umbrella Squad as a whole, because I feel like this is a team that does depend on having winning lane matchups. And Lil Gun has shown to be very flexible in terms of their hero pool in the past. So a lot of pressure on the EECA team, but they've definitely shown moments of brilliance.
Well, I don't know. Looking at the coaching staff, in this case Defender, previously playing on Deuce Vault, then having to leave and join the Umbrella Squad to make sure that he could try and qualify for a spot in M5 itself, he's taken a back step, and I think that seniority definitely helps out the team, keeping them mature, but also making sure that they're on pace for something that is good for them. And in this case, lane advantage, trying to be secured, goes over to Bruno from the Umbrella Squad.
We're seen as a great weapon here. Good early, mid, and late game technically, especially with the right kind of support though. So for Umbrella Squad, that's a great option. Now for Lil Gun, the first 2 picks will really define the form of their composition here, because unlike the first pick, you can't really hide it when you've shown 2 options, unless they go heavily into those flex picks, which is a advantage, but at the same time, it kind of forces them into some picks if they want to do so. But no, they go for the Valentina and a Terizla, a very team fight heavy approach already.
Okay, respectful here from Lil Gun. Now, I have to note that out of a lot of heroes, the most obvious pocket pick for Lil Gun is Faramis. It is very often banned out when teams are playing against them, because Ethan plays a very mean Faramis roam. But the fact that Valentina is still open means that it's too risky to allow the Nether Realm to potentially get stolen away. Instead, they'll grab it for themselves to deny Troublemaker, a hero he's comfortable with.
And does Lil Gun like to do this on blue side more often than red side, or is it just this particular match? Because I think that opening up, especially on red side with the Valentina, is such a good power pick, because then you have the flexibility even if the Faramis gets let through or it doesn't get touched at all. But Umbrella Squad, they lock in the Arla as well as the Guinevere. Final lock-in for the first phase from Lil Gun is going to be Martis.
Was looking quite good right there. Arlette, Guinevere, and Bruno, good early game. But now with the Martis in the mix, it's just not that simple any longer. And on that point on the Valentina too, it's good wave clear and early game damage. So if they both go for skirmishes right here, there's a chance that Lil Gun can actually get the better of Umbrella Squad, depending on how the fight plays out, who makes the first move, and whether or not they can get a lot of damage onto one person, because that one reset on the decimate of the Martis can just change things around very fast.
I think that's definitely true. I think that Lil Gun has a more like teamfight oriented composition for now. We don't know how they're going to complete it compared to someone like Umbrella Squad, but I think at the very least we know that they kind of want to play that early game for a certain degree, especially towards the EXP side, right? Because again, it is a strong pick in the EXP. I'm guessing that they're going to start banning things out from EXPs, the counter picks, more often than not.
Yeah, I think that does make sense overall. The ban on the Diggy is somewhat telling though. It instantly tells you that Lilgun does want to play around this team fighting. They want to use the penalty zone. They don't want to give Umbrella Squad an easy way to walk in and out of fights. So that needs to be a concern here, especially with the Fanny gone as well. Lilgun is already showing that their gameplay gonna be leaning towards the aggressive side.
Okay. Aggressive side for the side of Lil Gun. For Umbrella Squad, right? Double flex pick coming in early on. They ban out the Kufra. Are they also going to just double down and say, hey, maybe let's not try and open up the jungle. Maybe let's just get rid of just high impact, high setter roamers. Atlas, again, has been a very, very good pick until Diggy came about.
Exactly. So I think it's a bit of a mind game as well, because the Guinevere is still a very good flex pick. It can go to different areas as well. So we'll have to see, man. With the next ban, are they going to try and maybe trick Lil Gun a bit, or are they going to go for the straightforward approach?
It might not be as straightforward as we see. Did you know that Ethan has a 100% win rate as a Franco in 3 games in their qualifier? Because right now, I'm feeling like if they don't want to go for a setter, at least you can pick them apart. And I think that Lil Gun, especially the fact that they're taking away some good anti-CC in terms of the Martis and having a thick brick in a Terizla, this might be the way to go.
Yeah, I think it's not a bad idea here. Like, I was definitely leaning towards the Angela somewhat because it's not often the hero gets let through this far, and you combine it with the Martis, with the Terizla, it's already hard to deal with. So, respect the Umbrella Squad for spotting that, but the Franco is still open. It is an obvious counter to the Martis. Does Lilgun want to deny it? Answer is no.
I think for Lilgun, they're just waiting, just hiding their picks first, and getting a gold laner here that is quite secure and has some outer potential against all these dashes coming in from Umbrella Squad. It's definitely a great option, and he can secure kills afterwards, after the Martis has done all the heavy lifting in a big team fight. So that is the approach they're going with, just hiding their final pick here. So for Umbrella Squad, that's the question, especially in the mid lane against the Valentina. What do they want to take? What will they potentially give away in the IMU response from the Valentina?
I don't know whether Gord is actually relevant, but no. Instead, wait. It might not be a mid lane. It could just go straight into the jungle. I could be wrong about that.
I
No,
think it's mid lane.
It's mid, straight up mid Gushin. This will be very interesting. It's not like Gushin has an ultimate that's super abusable by Valentina. You don't barely get any value out of it half the time, and being able to one-shot your targets, because what Brody is great at, kiting away from people who dive at him.
Yeah, the thing is about Umbrella Squad is that comparatively, Lilgun is a team that's well coordinated, often will team fight together, rotates around very cleanly, whereas Umbrella Squad has a tendency to want to go for hero plays. Specifically, Marl, Troublemaker like to go in front and get kills, not even when their team isn't close enough behind them.
Ooh.
So a hero like Gushin is quite a thing, but with the Nether Realm now, that's gonna make it hard.
Now, 2 outcomes I'm expecting. Either Netherrealm, it gets popped, Gushin says no, blows up everybody's Netherrealm extra temp HP, and then starts the fight immediately after. Or nothing happens, you die instantly as you take the sword spike, and nothing gets done.
I think the big concern right here is the fact that there is a Guinevere and a Minotaur, so there's a lot of crowd control available when everyone's crowding together to get some value out of the Netherrealm. But that level 4 power spike is going to be absolutely disgusting from the side of Lilgun, man. I think Umbrella Squad needs to try and go really hard pre-level 4, or wait it out and make sure that they have ways to really fight back, get some damage in the hands of the Bruno before they want to engage in a big scale team fight.
It's gonna be difficult to do, but we'll find out if they can achieve it. We enter the Land of Dawn for our final series of the day. It's going to be Team Lilgun versus Umbrella Squad. Will they be able to shield against the rain of bullets coming their way?
Umbrella Squad going to be playing on the blue side with Lil Gun on red side. Let's see how this game actually turns out. As you mentioned, Rashi, we're hoping that Umbrella Squad is able to go really, really hard in the first couple of minutes in the game. But I actually think that level 4 coming in from Umbrella Squad might just be a wee bit better.
Oh, just a wee bit?
Just a wee bit. Not entirely, but there's definitely some like natural synergies, especially, let's not forget, the fact that you can, technically Castle can dash multiple times as long as CC is being applied. Marl has CC, Vanguard has CC, both of which are great enablers for him.
Well, I think that's the concern right here. That of course, there's synergy there, but is that enough damage to go through a Nether Realm, especially early on? And if you focus on the Nether Realm, on popping it, who is it towards?
Ooh, the
No
two-man
way.
petrify Forbidden. Ethan dropping low Forbid with the flicker, but Marl picks up the first blood. Doesn't allow him to get out of there.
You have to admit, that was kind of sick, though. You're like, wait, he's kind of trolling. He's using his Petrify for no reason. Spatial migration.
It was so good, man. It's almost like a mini fadeaway from Marl. And with that, he's going to get a level 4 advantage. So now the turtle fight, now you're going to see how is it going to go. Is Umbrella Squad going to try and push the tempo even more? Because if you look at the emblems right here, Team Lilgun, they understand that they have to maneuver around a lot of crowd control. 3 people going in for the agility, and for Ethan with the Wilderness Blessing as well.
Ah, jumps in, spatial migration, gonna get the combo onto Forbid, but not enough damage to finish off. And here comes Xora, he uses the Red Ring, doesn't get the kill on Fangor. That's gonna go over to Aizen, but he's dropping real low. Gonna force Marl to actually jump out of there. Penalty zone wasted. Here comes Castle, so flickers in, gets the stun, but again, not enough damage, no level 4. He can't do anything with this. Ethan, he could punish, but he himself, not level 4 yet. Still gonna chase him to the ends of the earth though. Ooh, Troublemaker! He finds Xora, steals the purple, and gets out like a maniac.
You weren't lying when he said the Troublemaker wanted to be up front. This man hits level 4 and is like, you know what? Give me everything.
The awareness to go for the jungle right there too, man, with Team Lilguns just over chasing, but now they're going for a fight again.
Yeah, that's gonna be Violet Requiem onto Aizen. Beautiful combo, not allowing the Turisla to do anything. Marl secures the turtle.
They are looking clean. I mean, the layering of the CC so far, the overall game sense coming in from Umbrella Squad. Our predictions might just be, oh, it might be wrong this time around.
Might be a bit different, but Team Lilgun, they're just fighting in different areas at the same time, never really going for a decisive 5v5. So I think once that happens, there's a better potential. But for now, it's Umbrella Squad all the way, just making the solo plays happen and pulling Team Lilgun away from each other.
The real question is how long is this laning phase actually going to last? Some people like to actually...
Ooh, Xora nearly dead, but NetherRealm saves him, keeps him alive for now. They get the pick off on the Troublemaker in exchange for the Martis. Fangor gonna get picked off. That's gonna go to a double kill as Bebex finally punishes Umbrella Squad.
So speaking about lanes, I was about to say that at least for Castle, he doesn't really get too much, but Marl has 2 kills. But this time, Bebex actually coming out huge with those 2 kills and the EXP lead currently onto Black Marsh. This is only going to get worse.
I mean, you pick the Bruno in order to get a dominant laning phase. With the Brody picking up 2 kills right there, it might just swing the whole lane in a different way for Team Lilgun, and that is what they need if they want to have this roam situation here. The winning laners can really set up for a perfect dive under the turrets.
So far, so good. Troublemaker making sure that he's not giving any shutdowns here or another kill over to Team Lilgun. He did just complete his Genius one, so expect him to do some work.
Marl, he's got his eyes on Ethan here. They're trying to gank the gold lane. That's gonna be a lot of tower gold taken by Black March there. Umbrella Squad gonna make the wise choice to not dive too deep.
I think that's the big problem right here for Umbrella Squad. I feel like they were trying to push the tempo and go for dives, but with the NetherRealm just lurking around the corner, it's so difficult, especially because it's in the hands of the roamer and not the mid laner. He can just stay in the back, and Umbrella Squad don't really know exactly where he is. He can just wait for the right moment, and if Umbrella Squad overcommit, that could be the end for them, as now we're looking at another huge team fight, maybe 4v4 without the gold laners.
Gonna be scary here. Hilm, Lilgun gonna be the ones in position. Castle gonna be holding on to that final slash, waiting for the best combination timing with the Minuan Fury. Gets it, goes for it, pushes Xora out of position. Aizen penalty zone misses. NetherRealm comes out. Turtle dropping 40%. The 2-man spatial migration. Xora is picked up. Turtle is secured by Marl. Double kill for Troublemaker and a killing spree for Umbrella Squad to top it all off.
So, like, is that, like, enough damage, or are we talking a little less there?
I mean, I feel like the damage is definitely there, especially if they're all stacking together, man. Multiple people hit by the spatial migration, setting up for a huge Minuan Fury, and then this Troublemaker just blasting everyone out.
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty surprising that Troublemaker is actually getting away with a lot of this. I think that Umbrella Squad, especially in terms of like the adaptation in the earlier stages, is like, let's play off the people who actually have a lead. And if we need to use Castle to just maybe sacrifice a little bit of EXP, maybe his body, just get the final slash down and start something against Lilgun, get them to commit.
Troublemaker though, he's looking for the chance, he swaps Bebex, the flicker, will it save him? Corrosive Strike is a torn apart memory, they trade for each other, but Bebex gets the shutdown, and now Zexora is on a decimate streak, picks off the cow, chasing down Blackmarsh. Castle looking to get the defense here, flickers in, stuns up Lil Gun to make sure that the gold lane no longer threatened, but it's Castle himself who's in danger. He's regenning a lot, but he's gonna eventually fall. Penalty zone finds Blackmarsh over the wall, NetherRealm allowing Lil Gun to continue the pursuit, and Marl will be able to keep his gold laner safe at least.
That's a chaotic fight from both teams. And for Lilgun, see, when they use the NetherRealm reactivate properly, they do come out ahead. In the turtle fight earlier, they're forced to use it a bit early, but look at his play! Troublemaker!
He finds the Violet Requiem, somehow Troublemaker actually getting a 1v1 kill onto Forbid. In the meantime though, bot lane Marl dropping real low, misses the decimate, and Zexora gets picked off as a result.
I don't know, I feel like Team Little Gun right now are miscommunicating. Like earlier when they were trying to go in for those fights, yes, they were using it reactively, but at the same time, the Terizla had already caught... Oh, wait a second. Does he? No, he doesn't, right?
Ooh, I'm waiting for it, but no, he's not gonna dive too deep there. He knows that he's worth a good bit of money right now with his killing spree.
Yeah, and I'm assuming he's calculating the body of the Smith as well. The lower he gets, the tougher he is with that DR. But in the meantime, right, I feel a little bad for Castle. Every single time I want to be part of the fight. Well, how much EXP do you want to sacrifice?
Well, he starts a fight, two-man final slash into the Minuan Fury, stolen by Forbid as a defensive play. Even NetherRealm actually used kind of early. This sets up for Marl. Violet Requiem onto Aizen. But here comes Bebex. He's doing some damage, making sure the Umbrella Squad cannot get an easy pick-off.
It's just so dangerous for Lilgun right now because at every single moment, Troublemaker outputs the damage so early. He's baiting a lot of crowd control and even the NetherRealm from Team Lilgun. So they have to be a bit more aggressive almost in order to know exactly when that NetherRealm needs to be used. They cannot allow Umbrella Squad to be the ones to decide when the fight really breaks out.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get to that point just yet. I think that Team Little Gun is going to have to just sacrifice this early as they transition into the mid to late just to get some magic resist, because nobody can technically open up the map reliably because the Troublemaker basically one-shots anybody who checks the bush.
Ooh, they find Blackmarsh here. He's gonna force the flicker out. Ethan actually not quite able to connect the Shadow Stampede, so the Bruno will survive, but the tier 1 tower won't.
Seems like right now, Lilgun are like splitting and they're not really sure where to play around when they have Bebex with a 3-kill advantage. But look at Ethan.
Ethan might get swatted out. NetherRealm used quite early again. Minuan Fury finds one. That's going to be NetherRealm used up. But Fangor dropping low. Zexora, can he get the decimate? Yes, he does. That's going to be a dead cow on the side of Umbrella Squad. And now Team Lilgun are looking for more. That's the double kill for Zexora. He spots Castle. He wants it, but he's under the tower. So he should be able to get out. Torn apart memory. Throwing him real low. Just one hit from death. Marl, Violet Requiem trying to zone out Lil Gun. And Troublemaker goes in! 4-man Petrify! Picks off Bebex, but there's just too much health here. That's a killing spree for Zexora.
Anybody else thinking that maybe Troublemaker should consider getting a fleeting time, because holy, that could have been a savage right there and then had he got some kill resets.
That is a lot of damage, man. I mean, we saw it earlier on the Terizla, but he is able to output it onto multiple people. And I think Team Lilgun, they really gotta start respecting this. I know they want to stick together for the NetherRealm, but once that's not available, they gotta spread out, man. The last thing they want is to get shredded all together as a team.
They need a loan for gold, because I'm expecting to see Athena shields earlier rather than later. I do see a Radiant armor already purchased coming in from Zora, but then everybody else in terms... Wait, no, Terizla also has one. Unfortunately, Bebex not there yet.
Yeah, not quite enough for now, but we'll have to see what kind of options Bebex goes for here in order to get some defensive items, but still some damage. On the flip side, though, for Umbrella Squad, and Twig Cuirass is built in for the Arlot and the Minotaur. They know for sure that the torn apart memory and the Decimate is going to be the main problem for them.
Yeah, and the fact that Troublemaker has 3 completed items already, and they're not cheap items. The cheapest, most economic one was going to be the Genius one, but he's already completed the Holy Crystal and as well as Divine Glaive on top of that.
This is a scary cushion right here. Lilgun has to watch his positioning as we see Castle engage onto Forbid. Final slash. Is the NetherRealm gonna come out? Yes, it will. Right on time for the Minuan Fury. But Marl in the back line. He's looking for the Violet Requiem. Forbid gonna be able to escape. Fangor gonna use his very own Minuan Fury now. Team Lilgun forced on the defensive. Troublemaker looking for the angle. He jumps in. Gets the 3-man damage on the Shadow Blade. counter. And they're looking for one more. Zexora not able to escape. Troublemaker with the shutdown and the triple kill.
He's huge. He's too big, man.
It's too much trouble. And Team Lilgun don't want that smoke. Look at that, grazing them. They're doing a lot of damage. There's just so much threat available. And Team Lilgun, they're over-relying on this Nether Realm. It's just not doing enough. They're losing turrets, and they're going to lose this Lord.
Oh, they're losing it too quick. Troublemaker has completely outscaled everybody, and even has a Lightning Truncheon as well. Like, that wasn't...
Wow.
Like, he didn't have enough damage already. He's going to get extra. I do say that the new Lightning Truncheon, I quite enjoy it. It's a lot better now compared to last time.
And it's a lot more independent. You don't have to build it as a combo, technically.
Oh.
And it gives you movement speed, by the way, so watch out for Troublemaker and his plays yet again once he procs that Lightning Truncheon. With the jungle now taken over by Umbrella Squad, they're just waiting for the Lord. And we'll have to see if they actually set up for a three-wave push, because they have ways to engage right now that is so dynamic. Between Castle and Marl, there's so many things that Team Lilgun have to pay attention to if they want to avoid just getting completely dominated.
I think the best part about Umbrella Squad is the way that they approach these fights, right? Like, yes, Troublemaker's doing a lot of damage.
Oh! Troublemaker is insane! Flies in, taunts Lilgun, gets out scot-free. And Final Slash gonna push Aizen out of position. Uses the penalty zone to get out to safety. Even the Nether Realm being used very early here by Team Lilgun.
All right, time for that second wave. You know what's going to happen here. Umbrella Squad, do the dive. Do the dive. Let's see if they're going to go for it.
Oh, here comes Castle Flickers and Final Slash finds Tree. Bebex is gone. Forbid is gone. That's a mega double kill for Troublemaker once again. The trouble continues for Team Lilgun. Crystal is open. Midway Fury stops them in there. Troublemaker is getting more. Triple kill for the Guchan. Maniac!
Give it to
him!
Give it to him!
And he gets eaten. The crystal's wide open. He's looking for it. He jumps in. Final Slash. Can he get the No! But they get the game, so that is worth it anyway.
Oh my god, I literally look back and he's just like, dude, I didn't mean to take it. And Troublemaker's looking over at Maul like, bruh, my savage, that was a great game coming in from the Umbrella Squad.
We haven't seen a Gusion in so long, and once we do, what do we witness? Absolute destruction. Woo! Troublemaker, man. He is making absolute trouble for the Mongolians against the predictions of everyone.
Yeah, I mean, that was hot stuff. I'm not going to lie. Really, really hot stuff. What about you, Stuffa? What are you thinking about this?
I'm just thinking that I'm living out the caster curse right now. I'm not joking. Every prediction has been wrong today. I need to stop talking.
Happens to the best of us, dude.
It really does. It really does. But I think, losing in this particular fashion is going to teach Lilgun at the very least, right? I think they had the right ideas. Yes, they were very reliant specifically on that Nether Realm, but it doesn't mean that they weren't doing good moves across the map. Their drafting already looked really, really nice, and I don't think people would have expected Gusion anyways.
Yeah, they were not prepared for the trouble that Troublemaker would bring to their shores here. This is a team that on paper has been super coordinated, rotates very well, but they were just completely outperformed by a surprise pocket pick here, and this is the value of these kinds of hero picks. You think, oh, this is not meta, it's not going to be a big problem, and then Troublemaker just pops out of nowhere and completely decimates their entire gameplay.
I feel that's a big problem right here for Lilgun at least, because I think they had the right idea. They're trying to predict the movement from Umbrella Squad, but I don't know if it's intentional or not, but sometimes they just go for a fight without any setup. And the fact that sometimes they do set up makes it very difficult to try and read out what exactly are they trying to do. And soon we're going to take a look at the MVP, and I don't think anyone is wondering who it's going to be, dude.
Castle shows up. Give it to it. It's Troublemaker coming up from the Umbrella Squad. Absolute nutty game on this Gusion. Now he's shy once he's on camera, literally just flaming his jungler earlier for taking a savage. Troublemaker coming out huge, 13-3-7. You don't get to see this in professional play very often. Not only because this is great KDA, this is Gusion we're talking about. He's been out of the meta for a long time.
And he's an assassin, yet he's a 95% kill participation. He doesn't only one-shot the squishy targets, he was one-shotting the Terizla, and also using the Petrify so dynamically, man. It's not only to try and set up for a combo, sometimes to enable his teammates to try and get the pick off as well. So I think he just really knows this hero in and out, and this is definitely something that Lilgun needs to respect.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's punishable. It's not impossible to get past it, but once you've given him such a snowball, most of the time the snowball kind of slows down towards the later stages. You got a little bit of MR, you got some Athena shields, maybe Radiant armors, and then you're okay, but not this time. They started and ended the game as quickly as they got the snowball.
Yeah, the pressure was so high coming in from the side of Umbrella Squad that it didn't allow Team Lilgun the time needed to start building up more items. They had the Radiant armor, but they really needed Athena's just from how much burst Troublemaker was doing, and they weren't quite able to achieve that because you have to recall, Troublemaker is not the only player they're facing.
Which brings me to my next topic. Thoughts on Castle being a potential roamer, because honestly that's how he was playing the entire game. He would get pushed in half of the time because of Terizla, but once they unlocked him, this man is instigating fights everywhere. He is going to the foundations of houses, drilling holes in them and putting termites for fun just to get the neighbors angry.
I mean, it's just so good, and the fact that they can alternate who actually begins the fight is what makes it so difficult as well. Soon we're going to take a look at some of the highlights right here, and maybe we can take a small look at what exactly they're able to get, brought to you by Grab. In the early game, I mean, Marl already makes a bit of a play, still enabled by Troublemaker. But afterwards, this is initially here, it seems like everything was going so well, but they were chasing, they didn't get the kill, and afterwards they lose tempo and momentum. But then right here, that Netherrealm once again just makes things so difficult for them, and they're able to actually get a bit of a lead. But afterwards, they go for a fight like this, clumped up together, and as we expect, when everything lands in the right moment, it's going to be so difficult for them to get a dominant, decisive moment here. They have to try and make it sporadic like this, picking off the members of Umbrella Squad one by one.
Yeah, but it's also about capitalization, right? We did see in a couple of these moments that the fight actually goes split for Little Gun to having two separate targets when they really need to devote all their damage into priority targets. And I think that's something that Little Gun is probably going to discuss later backstage before we get into Game 2. But as the game continues to move on, we do get to see these huge plays. Like, imagine if he had a fleeting time there and uses the incandescence like twice in that fight, getting so many kills. That would have been so insane. But overall, I think that Umbrella Squad, we were talking about this earlier, they needed advantages in the draft. It just felt that they were the more polished team in terms of just overall chemistry.
And I did mention that as long as they have the better draft, Umbrella Squad will have the better chances here. Yeah, but I didn't realize it would go so one-sidedly, right? The momentum was on their side right from the very beginning, and they didn't allow Lilgun any opportunity to make that comeback. And I love that. I like that pressure. I want more teams to be able to abuse this sort of threat.
Now keep in mind, we're looking at the emblems earlier, there were a couple of interesting ones. Number one, Arla taking a Wilderness Blessing. Kind of interesting. You don't get to see that very often, especially since it's last nerfed 2 patches ago. Now, at least for Castle, he understands, I am not going to win this lane, I just got to move fast.
He knows it's a 5% nerf to the Wilderness Blessing, but he needs to be around the map because that's how he was playing. Like you mentioned, Gideon, it wasn't like split pushing and laning 1v1. He just arrives to the fight and enables, right? He just sits there and goes, if you want to take me out, it's fine. I'm gonna be back with a vengeance. Not well, literally from his second skill, funnily enough. But aside from that, Ethan going with the basic emblem right here, he just wasn't tanky at all. So off the bat already, Lilgun lacking another tanky member. Only the Martyrs technically being a secondary tank, but Ethan in the roaming position serves a very weird function here. He provides utility, but he's building tank, but he still has the flex of the Oasis. It's just a bit of a weird mix that is a bit of a jack of all trades, but really master of none.
But I mean, at the end of the day, his big payoff is going to be his ult, right? As long as Minotaur is able to get a really good ult off, it helps knocking people up to enable Castle to technically stay in longer. And if that's not enough, you get a stimulus pack in the Magic Thing coming in from Marl into the Spatial Migration. He can get out, and Castle can just keep fighting.
I think in the end, Lilgun may have overdunked the draft a little bit for themselves, right? Because the thing is, the Ethan Roam Faramis is something I brought up during the drafting phase. It's something that teams actually respect against it. And when I watched the way that he played it in his qualifying finals, it's some of the most aggressive Faramis I've ever seen. Yet here, it felt like very defensive. In fact, even a little bit scared. So perhaps Lilgun were just not prepared for what Umbrella Squad was going to throw at them. We also have to note, they themselves banned out the Diggy. And Umbrella Squad has so much crowd control.
Well, to be fair, the crowd control came in later on. But for Lilgun as well, if you look at the items being built by Bebex there, he has a Shroud, I think, so he has some magical defense, but for the most part, he didn't really have any solution to deal with the Gusion. And I think if you look at how Troublemaker was doing. I mean, look at the rich guy and the carry. This man is just monopolizing everything. With how he was playing, I feel like some respect was warranted there, or Rose Gold maybe, or on Athena even, right? On the gold lane, knowing that you're one of the main damage tools for your team, I think you gotta really respect that damage potential.
I think he was just looking at Ethan and was like, you got me, right? And Ethan looked back at him, maybe.
Maybe.
It's so quick.
Yeah, I mean, after like 6 kills are given over to Troublemaker, it's hard to say that I got your back because there's too many things to worry about. You don't want to get locked down and CC'd and then end up dying to someone like Castle on this Arlet who has high base damages naturally pre-level 6, but even then, there's a lot of things to worry about.
Look at the damage dealt charts right here too, man. I mean, Bebex did 27k. It's not bad, but overall, considering he was the one getting some kills, getting a snowball in, you expect a bit more damage, but that's where Troublemaker just says no. And look at his own damage dealt, dude. It's just leagues above everyone else. Showing that this Gusion does work, but I guess it's something also that Ligon can fix, right? How they were positioning. They're always in a perfect cone. And that's partially due to how Troublemaker is able to reposition initially to get full benefit from the hero's kit. But they gotta try and do something different, man.
Different? I'm thinking about adaptations at this point of time, right, so far. And based on how this game has kind of gone, I would hate to be in Lil Gun's position because it's like, oh, did we get outplayed to a certain degree? But then how do we fix this potential draft that has been working so well prior to this?
Yeah, these are heroes that Team Lilgon are quite comfortable with. You could even call many of them pocket picks. So the fact that they've already been figured out so easily by Umbrella Squad is going to affect them mentally. And it's going to be a real test of how psychologically prepared they are to compete on the M5 stage. Is it worth banning out the Gusion? Is it time to give more respect to the crowd control? Do you want to draft heroes that are more effective in winning out the lanes? Those are all questions that you're going to have to answer.
Yeah, for me, I think that Lil Gun is probably going to lead into the direction of let's just win our lanes and we wouldn't be in this situation in the first place.
Well, they can do that, but if you look at their laners, they're already very solid laners, man. Valentina, Brody, and Terizla. I feel like the problem was that, for the most part, Umbrella Squad can just kite back away, and with the main rumor being a Faramis, right? He was just trying to chase everyone down with the Stampede, and just failing to get it. It's just not as dynamic of an engage tool that you would want when you want to go aggressive, when you want to snowball. So the Martis just becomes that much less scary, right? Of course, when Umbrella Squad engages first and fully commits, allowing for those resets to happen, that is where generally Lil Gun can go and get that full value from the resets, from the decimate. But towards the end of the game, Umbrella Squad won't engage, won't allow any opportunities unless everything is in line with what they want. Which is why the fights just went heavily in their favor toward, in the mid-game stage.
Okay, so they need to get something back to feel a little bit more familiar in that winning formula. Is this a switch of sides for the side of the Lil Gun? Do they want to just take blue side and predetermine, hey, we're going to get all our prio picks as soon as the first phase is done? Then we'll see what happens.
I don't think it's a question of prio picks here, because I feel like Lil Gun has a flexible enough hero pool that it doesn't really matter which side they're on. What they need to change is the way they're approaching this game. Because this is a team that likes to fight together. They're pretty well coordinated, and Umbrella Squad punished that by grabbing heroes like an Arlet and the Minotaur. So this time, let's go for a team comp that's more effective at pick-off and peel, because you know that players like Troublemaker and Castle are going to run at you. Let's make M separate from the team as far as possible.
Oh, are we thinking Enchanter-style supports, or are we just talking about people with just high mobility?
Pick-off.
Pick-off, okay.
Pick-off, all right. Well, I think personally, when we saw like half the draft there, I saw the Bruno, the Arlet, the Guinevere. It really seems super all-in, right? Guinevere and Arlet. So I thought the Minotaur would be picked up by Lil Gun actually, if they can, you know, but turns out, I guess part of why it's picked up by Umbrella Squad, even though they have a very aggressive nature, is they know that it's going to be a good pick against them as well. So I think if they see patterns of this same kind of approach happening from Umbrella Squad, just big dives, they can go for big crowd control to reach counter it as well.
It could just be just the way to ego challenge people in the drafting phase. Just like
ego challenge.
Yeah, it's like it's bad for us, it's bad for you. It doesn't matter on whose side it is. It'll be very beneficial. It's either you ban it or I ban it. Which one is going to take it first?
I think that's a big question here. Are they going to try and switch it up though, Umbrella Squad, because they've shown a great aggressive play style, but if they use that kind of fear, the kind of pressure that they have on Lil Gun to really throw them off their game, that's a valid approach strategically. Or they can just double down and go even more aggressive knowing that Lilgun is going to try and prepare for that.
Possibly. I'm just thinking that if they do decide to swap sides, that maybe Little Gun might just give away the Valentina over to Troublemaker. But there's only one way to find out as we jump straight into the drafting phase of the wild cards.
Game number 2 between Umbrella Squad and Team Lilgun. Umbrella Squad showing us that they are capable of bringing an Umbrella to a gunfight here. Already 1 game up. Will the variations we talked about happen in the draft phase for game number 2?
Let's find out here. Lil Gun going to be taking blue side. As Umbrella Squad takes red, we see Kaja immediately banned out without hesitation.
Yeah, the Kaja is going to be a big problem for assassin-based gameplay, though. So I think Lilgun also banned it earlier. It's something that they might not want to play against because we saw earlier they banned away the Kaja, Mathilda, and Joy. But if they really want to ban that out, are they going to go for an assassin this time in the jungle? Because the Martis is a meta pick, but we've seen that Umbrella Squad, they know how to deal with it.
Yeah, Umbrella Squad has been pretty comfortable dealing with it overall because a majority of their heroes just refuse to give him that Decimate for free. And if they do, they make sure they run away and even flicker away in completely opposite areas from the rest of his teammates so he doesn't get the chain kills. Now, the fact that Fanny gets banned out does bring up a couple of questions here. Is Umbrella Squad, are they expecting Umbrella Squad to actually pivot, or is it just because they're on blue side?
I think it's mainly because they already understand that giving an early game lead to Umbrella Squad is a bad idea. This is a team that is going to run at you, so you definitely don't want to give them the hero that flies at you and just takes you out before you have a chance to respond.
Well, for Umbrella Squad right now, banning away the Mathilda, I think they're just worried. What's going to be the first pick for Lilgun? Are they going to try and get more caster supports that can really save, the roamers can really save their carries here from the threat of Troublemaker? Or are they going to go aggressive and maybe go for trying to counter the jungler by being aggressive instead? The box you're taken away is one small hint at that. I wonder if Lilgun are considering something like a Hilda to really throw a screw in Troublemaker's plans.
I think it's too early to actually go for the Hilda, and I don't think it's worth banning out. So maybe
Yeah.
the Angela is going to be a little bit more inclined to that area. No, instead they get rid of they're like, Castle, we give you our respects, stop it. Stop it, please. The foundations of my house is already crumbling. I need this to end.
Okay, they're gonna go for the hero that gathers them all together. I think that does make sense. There would be teams that might think, oh, the cushion was a big problem, let's get rid of it. But the core of the issue was the fact that their tendency to group up was being punished very heavily by Castle's initiation. So I think getting rid of the Arlet here is a very smart choice.
Okay, which brings us to our final ban coming in from the Umbrella Squad of this very first phase. I mean, Matilda, we can all understand. The Boxia, all right, sure, that makes sense. It's very oppressive to deal with. Are we thinking about neutering a lane? Are we thinking about, no, they just straight up get rid of Farmus?
That means Nolan is left open, by the way, so it's a pretty tough choice. They don't really know, what exactly is Lilgun going to do because of the flexibility in their hero pools. They can go for the Bruno as well. That was still a big portion, a big part of the issue there. If they focus too much on Troublemaker, there's still a huge Bruno damage power spike in the late game. Now it can be taken by Lilgun so they can have a stronger presence in the gold lane.
Possibly, or they just take Valentina and call it a day. They're like, all right, let's see what you guys got on red side.
There's also things like the Terizla or the Angela. Previously, Terizla had trouble because he was against Arlet. Arlet's gone. Terizla could be pretty safe to engage fights. Angela is still flexible, surprisingly led through the ban phase. We'll see what Lilgun prioritizes here. Has the final few seconds count down. Ooh, the Guinevere.
Straight up into Gwen, and this might be the Gwen tank that we saw in the previous game once more. Let's see what Umbrella Squad has to say about this, right? There's a couple of counters that go well, but I feel like at least Guinevere in this particular case is more so an instigator than she is a finisher. Unless, goes for the full magic build, then okay, sure.
Hey, that's a whole different story. Probably just going to be aggressive, survivable as well in the front with a good amount of sustain that is built into her kit. For Umbrella Squad, knowing that there's a threat of a Guinevere from whichever lane right here, are they going to go for crowd control? Are they going to go for some damage? Because if the Guinevere is tanky, you want to try and be a real threat to it. So the Bruno pick that they use in game number 1 can still work out, but they're going to go for the Joy first.
Okay.
The Joy was the 1-1 as well. It's going to be very interesting. Now, we have to note, Marl playing on the Guinevere last game was actually kind of a rarity because this is a player that like 80% of the time plays assassins, even in this sort of meta. So heroes like the Joy are much more up his alley, so we'll get to see a lot more of that.
Assuming that it actually goes into the jungle,
True.
right? And that's the same position of this
Whoa,
Guinevere. Now that we
whoa.
see this, holy cow. Boys, thoughts? Phoveus, it's been a while, but here at Wild Cards, first Phoveus that we've seen, as well as Nolan. I am happy to see Nolan, of course, but Phoveus, oh, dude, I don't know. He's got so many procs. He's got so many things to take advantage of.
There's the 1-1, there's the Joy as well. It's also a good counter against the Nolan, by the way. I believe, I think it was first popularized against the Nolan by AP Brent or Blacklist.
Against
Kinda
AP
hazy right
Brent,
now.
yeah. It was used against it.
All right, so it's a dash heavy, but at the same time, it's a complete counter against the 1-1, right? If she hops too fast, those demonic force jumps aren't gonna do as much damage as you would expect.
Yeah, that is true. I do think that there is a certain level that Phoveus needs to be ahead, and a particular build to really get max value out of it, and more so the animation is just kind of slow. Let's not forget that at the end of the day, if Wanwan is able to get that crossbow of Tang off, that could change everything if she's full build. We've already seen a potential maniac, potential savage coming in from a Wanwan before. Maybe this could be the game.
Not to mention that Phoveus as a hero is pretty weak in the early laning phase, and we'd already talked about how Umbrella Squad, all they really need is to win out the lanes, and then the game just falls into their laps. So this is a bit of a risk for Lilgan here. They're gonna really need to snowball onto the Nolan, because if they're not able to, there's not a lot of options left.
I think that the focus goes into the mid lane right here, because if your jungle is that important, right? The Joy and the Guinevere, I think, have a lot of work to do in this matchup. So if the mid lane or the roamer is a bit stronger for one side, it's gonna tip the favor in balance of one of these heroes. Both Guinevere and Joy can be very troublesome once they really get that support to go into your opposing side's jungle, to try and just wreak havoc there.
Yeah. Now we see the next couple of bans start to go through the Bruno. Makes sense. And we also do get to see the Franco as well, which I think is a really smart ban coming in from Little Gun, right? All of them are susceptible to suppression, but worse yet, if you get pulled out of position by that Iron Hook, you don't have a lot of tools to actually, get out if two other people are sitting by the Franco when that hook connects. And let's not forget, I'm guessing. Oh wait, no, they've already done it for me. Get rid of that Kufra.
I was thinking that as well. This is a hero that would be a menace to honestly either team right now, because there's actually quite a good bit of dashing on either side. So the heroes that they're banning here are actually also affecting them. And with neither side's roamer being picked up yet, I'm very curious to see how this is going to affect the pool.
One more ban coming in from Lil Gun. Is it going to be yet another roamer ban? Because I feel like the mid lane is something they want to try and consider as well here. Of course, it depends, right? Do they want to go for wave clear, some more damage as well? Because I think for Railgun, a bit more burst damage would be preferable here with the Guinevere. Because you can lift someone up with the Violet Requiem, and then what? Unless you go full damage, it won't really one-shot anyone.
Yeah, no, I agree with you in that sense, right? You're expecting something to have a lot of damage to make sure that you get over that line, or at least be worthwhile, so that Umbrella Squad can actually start to look for engages and you can kind of read into it. Now that the Minotaur is gone, we move on to the second phase here. First pick of the second phase, going over to Umbrella Squad.
What are they going to be looking for right now? We do know that the roam and mid lane, unless the Joy is flexed in that direction, are going to be what Umbrella Squad wants. And if they really want to keep Troublemaker as the main playmaker for their team, they'll probably want to keep that mid pick until the very end. But you also cannot argue the importance of a roam hero in the current meta.
Ooh, it is going to be a Hilda. I thought Lilgun was going to pick it up against Umbrella Squad. But now that there's a Nolan on their side, it's going to be a Hilda. They also lacked a bit of tankiness right there. So Terizla and Hilda, these are very annoying heroes. And that's might be why they banned the Baksha as well, right? A lot of regeneration here could have been negated by that pick.
It could have been like an extremely bad matchup. And I don't know, maybe Little Gun might go for something a little cheesy, be like, you know what, Valier is the way to go here. We're going to have a Valier roam to match this Hilda. She goes in, I just lock her down for a short period of time, give that pressure back to my jungler.
But what if this is a Gwyn roam though?
That's still a
then it's a
possibility.
mid lane Valir.
Like, the thing about Valir is that
Mid-lane
he's
Valir.
so vulnerable to the joy, right? It's like, yes, you
Yeah.
can see it, but he's generally very squishy. Like, things like the Deer-off against tanky heroes do make sense, but... Ooh,
All right.
interesting.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
Novaria, I think it's underrated to try and back up your jungler. Good wave clear and a lot of burst damage, especially in the early game. Because even with only one spell, those two spells, the Astral Meteor and the Astral Sphere, actually does a deceptive amount of damage, and you can kind of get more value. Because unlike other spells, you know, it's strong, but there's outplay potential. So if you can actually land the whole thing, the full duration of the Astral Meteor, or get a full distance Astral Sphere, it's going to be a huge burst damage potential that his team can try and use to try and get snowballing in the early game.
Well, the way that I think about it is that, at least with Novaria, especially if we're talking about the early game, right, is able to clear out the waves unless somebody tanks the initial, initial Astral Meteor, or unless if level 1 you decide to go for the Astral Sphere,
Oh.
that works too. But man, oh man, too busy with my Hilda means you can't invade me when I am on Leomord.
Wait, hang on. What is going on? Where is the Joy gonna go? Is this a mid-Joy?
I think it might just be mid-joy.
We haven't seen a mid-Joy since, I believe, the previous IESF, where the one in Bali. Like 2 IESFs ago.
That was 2 IESFs ago. We did.
We haven't seen it since then. I believe that's where the Joy
That
was so
long.
broken, it can go everywhere. But now it's back, hang on, yeah, in the mid lane with a Vengeance as well.
Yep.
Against a Novaria. Dude, Assassins in the mid lane, it's not a foreign concept. We've seen it before. If they can execute this, this might just shift some meta picks over, man.
I don't know. It might just turn the hearts and minds of the right people.
Will Troublemaker, with the epitome of a troublemaker hero, be able to destroy the hopes of Team Lilgun in a clean sweep? Or will the Mongolian representatives show us what they're truly capable of as we return to the land of dawn for game number 2?
All right, let us begin. It's going to be Lil Gun on the blue side with Umbrella Squad on the red side. And of course, Zora is going to be starting down on the bottom side towards the gold lane of the map just to get a little bit of a leash from Beatrix. And more importantly, just to kind of stay safe from Hilda with a laner that is strong enough to kind of hold her own.
Whoa, 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 hang on. The Hilda isn't invading, it was leashing, helping Mark clear for a faster jungle clear. That is interesting. Now they're moving together, trying to contest the Litho. That's a strategy we haven't seen so far. Usually the Hilda just sticks to the opposing side's jungler, but that's not the case now.
Yeah, I think, again, it's recognition of, like, as soon as this Nolan gets this purple, it becomes difficult to kind of run him down with these rifts being slowing you down before they are connected together and procced.
Yeah, but it's a very smart choice by Umbrella Squad here, understanding that the Nolan is going to clear very quickly. So, and invade is likely not going to be possible with that Roam Guinevere, so go for the quick clear instead.
With an advantage, what are they gonna do? They have control right here. Superior wave clear as well. In the mid lane, it's so bit difficult because if Forbid uses all his spells, then he's vulnerable to just getting maybe even solo killed by Troublemaker. And we've seen what he can do once he gets snowballing.
Yeah. I mean, Troublemaker would technically be like the quote-unquote the easiest one to gank, but honestly, he's pretty slippery too, right? And this is great for Isaac because that means the mid lane isn't rotating that much and you don't have to worry about that angle when it comes to a gank, but I think it'll be important for him to hit 4 sooner rather than later.
Well, the level 4 power spike, I feel like at this point, will favor Umbrella Squad a bit, especially if they can really get their hands onto the back line. Because in a full front-to-front clash, having more fighters in the early game generally gives you more of an advantage. You can tank more damage, deal some more damage as well, and we're seeing a bit of it right here.
Ooh, the Flicker penalty zone onto Ethan forces the Flicker out. Marl secures the turtle easily, and Zexora is picked off. Troublemaker with the first blood, but he gets punished himself. Vengeance not gonna save him from the hands of Ethan.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. Zora was actually really close to taking that away from Marl, but at the end of the day, it's all about those timings. Now, let's have a look at the emblems here and see whether or not there's anything interesting or to keep it in mind, because now that at least for Joy, taking adaptive penetration, sorry, the Rupture, as well as the arm, as well as the, it's not coming to me right now. It is
The Weapon Master?
Weapon Master. That's
Weapon
the one.
Mastery.
I was like, Weapon Mastery? I'm like, no, that doesn't sound right. With the Weapon Master, she's going to do a lot of damage, right? It's guaranteed that she is going to hurt. But worse yet, having this Vengeance makes it even tougher.
Ooh, Ethan's actually in trouble, Troublemaker. We were literally just talking about it. But Ethan with the Violet Requiem actually able to zone him off just a bit. I actually felt like if he stayed a second longer, that would have been a kill.
Maybe it's just playing a bit more conservatively, but the willingness for him to just go in there, even though the kill isn't technically guaranteed, makes it very difficult for Team Lilgun to really react to it. If they know that he can only go in when the kill is guaranteed, then it's easy to predict, to try and counter with spells and the like. But now that they have no idea if Troublemaker is going to go in to harass or to completely, commit all in, to be the difference.
Ooh, Zexora with the Fracture, as well as the Astral Spear, finding Troublemaker, finally getting some vengeance for game 1.
I'm sorry, was I watching Dude Perfect there for a second? Because that was literally set up beautifully. Forbid just lays down the ult, has the skill shot ready, and Zexora just has the easy job of pressing buttons and walking away and looking cool.
It's that vision advantage that they're able to get right there. It's from Umbrella. We're having this Hilda. They should really use it to try and scout also instead of just like standing around, because he's not really invading. And now he's just waiting in the bushes a bit more passively. I think he can move forward to some of the bushes that are more neutral in the center of the river to try and get that advantage, because he's not making use of the sustain or movement speed of this Hilda pick.
Yeah, again, not finding any value whatsoever. And worse yet, I think that Fangor in these positions, it's a little tough for him, right? Because not only is it difficult to actually get and close the distance against Zexora, but at the very least, he also has to worry about getting blasted by 4-bit every once in a while.
That's a lot of damage as well. Now with a half HP, gonna try and regen back up, but look at Ethan, keep your eyes on this man.
Aizen very far forward. Astral Echo gonna spot things out. Already Demonic Force used up. That's gonna be Violet Requiem in the backline. Turtle secured by Team Lilgun, and they're gonna grab Troublemaker and Marl on top of it. Lilgun rushing him down. A beautiful flicker by Ethan over the wall to get out of the clutches of Fangor and Castle as well.
Everything is falling in place for Lilgun. A stark contrast to game number 1. Now they're the ones with the aggression, with the superior burst, and the superior chase potential, with the slows and mobility that they have. Umbrella Squad were just not ready right there. Getting Troublemaker deleted just shows that he was so dominant in game number 1 that in game number 2 right here, he hasn't done anything, but Team Lilgun is like, no, get out of here.
I think, at least for Team Lilgun, they want to fight together, and I think this is a draft that definitely is more beneficial when you are scouting for that information. And I think that right now, 4-bit is doing a lot of work for the team to help them get to that decision faster.
The Astral Echo, very powerful utility tool here for providing information that every team needs here and making... Oh, Castle in trouble. He gets a 3-man penalty zone, but he's still stuck by himself. Here comes Marl, though, coming in with the Phantom Steed, dropping Ethan real low. Aizen being an absolute nuisance with the Demonic Force. The snipe, unfortunately, going to miss from Bebex, as well as the Spatial Migration. Umbrella Squad, beautiful timings here. As Troublemaker comes in, he has his eyes on the goal lane, but Bebex, with the outplay, walking in the opposite direction, not allowing him to make full advantage of his ultimate. Troublemaker still playing this risky. He sees Ethan, he wants him, but he jumps away, and Aizen flickers forward to get the punish.
That was wild. What happened right there?
Honestly, that was kind of disgusting. He knew that he could outplay that, and he absolutely nailed it, really abusing the game mechanics here.
Troublemaker just caught opposition. Now Fangor coming in 1v2. Won't be able to get anything done though. Umbrella Squad, they just seem bewildered right here with the decisiveness of Team Lilgun. At every point, they're the ones making the play happen, and they haven't even used the combo, right? The Astral Echo into a multiple-man spatial migration from Ethan, or even the Renner's Apathy for that double long-range snipe.
You're right. The gold laners haven't been too involved in a lot of these fights, have they? I mean, for the most part, maybe after like one item, we were expecting to see Bebex actually start joining him. But in the meantime, while Team Lilgun is going to be taking this turtle pretty much for free, Umbrella Squad, full advantage, open up the map on top side just in case that there is a potential fight, and they'll go in and quickly break down the tier 2, maybe tier 1, maybe even get a tier 2.
Just trading for objectives right here. Black March might not get it, man, and in the bottom side, already a trade attempted from Lilguns, but you gotta be careful, man. Castle cannot overstep right here. He's not as disposable as the Arlott was in the previous game.
With Major Migration, gonna find the Turisla right into the Bandit's Rage, and Castle is gone. The castle walls have fallen to the hands of Lilgun.
And that's also a tier 2. Oh, no! He breaks it just in time. 1% of that tower's HP left. In the meantime, if we look on the top side, at least for the Wanwan, I'm curious to see how far along her item that she is. I mean, Blackmar, she has an EXP lead over Bebex. Let's see how this is going to play out.
Aizen being quite a nuisance here. He's actually reached the point where he's tanky enough to just walk up against Umbrella Squad and provide information as a Phoveus. Now a lot of attention being diverted to the top lane, pressuring Blackmart and stealing away the orange buff.
I find it peculiar that the main man sent to the front lines to really tank a lot of damage is Castle. You would think that with the penalty zone, he is going to be the counter-engage tool, and they can send Fangor out there instead. But that is not what's happening, man. Fangor has been relatively passive. Look at where he's standing right here, behind a lot of his teammates.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult for him because the early game has been pretty much passed as we transition into mid towards late, and Fangor is just struggling.
Oh! Ito with the flicker spatial migration! I have never seen that before! Picks off Castle once again.
Linken, you'll miss it. That is the speed at which Lilgun can just make the plays happen. Umbrella Squad are doing a great job trading right here, though, so all things considered, this might be the best thing they can do so far. And now it's the waiting game. With the Lord spawning in 8 seconds, who's going to get the setup? The setup advantage, the vision advantage. With the Novaria there, it's going to be very difficult for Umbrella Squad to get the surprise situation that they really require to get the backline and come out on top in these fights.
I don't know, because it feels like even if you do want to kind of get into that backline, it's the targets are difficult to get to. That's number one. If we're talking about Umbrella Squad, wait, hold on. Nolan is going to be able to get a push down on that bottom side. Crack a tier 2 open. Mid is already pushed out. Lilgun have macroed this really nicely.
This is beautiful objective control coming in from the Mongolian representatives right here. Tier 2 bot falls easily. I don't think they're aware that Fangor is scouting this out, but it's still not a really big issue here for Lilgun. He will get started on the Bebex. Spatial migration, gonna find the hill. The Troublemaker looking for the dive, but he won't be able to connect it. Vengeance Pop won't save him. Fracture destroys him, and Black March is now being chased down, but he gets the crossbow of Tang. Not enough damage yet though, as so Zexora gets the double kill. Spatial migration dodges the penalty zone. Bebex actually flickers forward onto Fangor. Gets punished for it. Astral Spear won't finish him off. Aizen being chased down by Marl in the backline. A crazy, messy fight, but Umbrella Squad now actually winning out inconsistent damage. So Lilgun will make a hasty retreat.
Oh boy, honestly, it wasn't looking good for Umbrella Squad for a second there, but Team Lilgun took a majority, took a good chunk of punishment after that, right? I mean, they got some pretty big spells from some big players from the side of Team Lilgun.
Troublemaker just got immediately nuked in the beginning of that fight, though, and now Zexora.
Zexora, he's looking for Marl. He gets it. Mega kill for the Nolan as he just makes out like a bandit.
That was disgusting, man. That's a lot of damage. And now the Lord, can it go to the hands of Lilgun? No contest available for Umbrella Squad, despite that win. But you can see that in a messy fight, they have a chance here. There are ways for them to really come out on top in the fight. It all comes down to the execution right now.
Let's see how much execution they're going to get, because right now Marl, he's 2 levels below Zora as of yet. Let's look at the items. Perfect timing here. Hunter Strike, Brute Force Breastplate into Malefic Roar, in comparison to BOD Malefic Roar into Hunter Strike. So a lot more damage output specifically from Zora at any HP.
Well, it's also a fighter in the hands of Marl, right? So it doesn't really perform the same way. But look at this, Fangor going against Zexora.
Yeah, he's diving real deep onto the Nolan, forcing out the dashes, but he's able to escape quite easily. In the meantime, Lord crashing up top lane. 2-man penalty zone onto Ethan and Bebex, and Marl is coming in to jump on the opportunity. Crossbow of Tang, follow up. Bebex is gone. Ethan will follow in quick succession. Umbrella Squad punishes Team Lilgun.
Beautiful combination here, one after the other, just layering it so nicely. Oh, the first chain pull right into Barbiel, pulling them in no time to react.
That backline is just so vulnerable right now. It's almost like the previous game, kind of, right? The marksman just not really respecting the damage potential so far. For now, man, a 4K gold lead, but Umbrella Squad seems to really be on the board. And more importantly, they seem to have just found a winning solution right here. Go for a penalty zone and have Marl cut in the back line. With them being so pulled back towards their base, that's the natural conclusion. But if they can create the same scenario to try and capture and pinch Lilgun, this could be the way they can try and get a dub.
Ooh, nice checking of the bushes here. Troublemaker still gonna play fairly aggressively, but he knows that he's in a pretty safe position. Right now, we are in a stage of the game where the game state is very fragile, and being able to find the position you need is going to change the scales heavily.
It's a Wind Talker completed for the 1-1, so more attack speed, more mobility, more importantly, less damage coming in from the Phobias. So we'll have to see. On top of that, Troublemaker just completed a concentrated energy earlier, so he has a bit more sustain. Even though he gets chunked out, he can regen in the jungle. He can stay a bit tankier in the fight with that Vengeance too. So I think Team Lilgan are the ones who have to be a bit more careful, and they might have to ration some of their card control to ensure that the backline does not get rushed at yet again.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting, right? Because we were talking about Fangor earlier, and he was like, yeah, he's not really doing much. He's kind of just sitting around. He's kind of waiting, hiding behind teammates even sometimes. And then you come back to Lilgan and you realize that, yes, the vision is a little bit more important in these cases rather than just pure harassment. You need to give that opening, that hole. You can't create it yourself, but you can inform people who can get in those spots.
Fangor gonna get spotted out, walks into the wrong neighborhood, and Ethan sets up the ambush. Now Castle gonna be targeted by Zexora and Aizen. Popped down by the Fracture. Unstoppable streak for Zexora. The Lord is now within sight. Troublemaker gonna be getting his electrifying beats off of... Oh, nice flicker from Bebex in the opposite direction. Troublemaker now in a lot of trouble. Beautiful spatial migration. Gets the knockup, gets the kill. Team Lilgan now have the total numerical superiority, and the Lord is theirs.
What is going on right there, man? I mean, the waves are set up to push for Umbrella Squad, but Fangor just comes in a bit too ahead of the rest of the pack. He gets deleted, and there was no damage traded back for it. If everyone on his team was behind him right there, when they poured in so many spells towards the Hilda, the Roamer, then the rest of the team can really punish afterwards, but that is not how Umbrella Squad played that game out.
Yeah, a little unfortunate indeed, but now we come back to the present. We see that the Lord is already starting to press in towards lane with Lord Empowered Minions. Team Lilgan setting this up nice to make sure that they have a subsequent crashing of all the waves. They got top and mid at the same time and delay on the bottom side.
That is honestly so many minions. They already found Troublemaker. The spatial migration hitting his target every time. Fangor trying to dive onto Zexora, but he's dropping real low himself with the Dog Force. Penalty zone onto 3 members. Will this be enough? No, Bebex already has the double kill, and Marl can do nothing but run in. Even the crossbow of Tang isn't going to be enough with the Wind of Nature already popped down by Bebex and Black March. He tries to dash away. He will just barely make it back to base, but he and Castle are the only survivors. Named that one. Castle is picked off for Bid with the killing spree, and the crystal is wide open. We are going to game number 3.
Woo! Game of 3 coming in for these boys. Lilgan bounce back after a devastating game number 1. It looks like they've kind of gotten their acts back together.
The Mongolians, man, strike back with a vengeance, but it wasn't a clean game at all, man. At any moment, it can really swing in one direction, in either direction. And for Lilgan and Umbrella Squad, they gotta be feeling the pressure right here. It's back to a best of 1, and so far, it's almost a bit coin flippy how they take the fights, right? It's almost like something happens and they both scramble towards it, and they just, risk it to see who actually comes out on top.
Do you agree with that stuff? Do you feel like that this is something that Lilgan is proactively doing, going into unknown situations and then fighting in comparison to really taking their time to calculate it?
That's the thing. Lilgan has a fairly aggressive attitude, and the way I would have described this team going in is if they want to do something, they're going to do it, even if it may cost more than you think, and they'll usually succeed. And in this case, having a lineup here that allows for them to go for these aggressive plays, not to mention the vision provided by the Novaria, and this feels a lot more natural to what I expected from the team.
Okay, so that begs the question of adaptation for the upcoming. We got a little bit of a taste from either side, but I think this is where it's really going to start changing things up once we get into game number 3. I'm going to assume that Umbrella Squad takes blue side like they did in game number 1, but that's just assumption.
It's possible, and I do feel like right now, considering the fact that both teams seem to be a bit spontaneous, right? They seem to be kind of scrambling into fights instead of setting it up properly with waves, with vision. I feel like crowd control and damage output becomes so important right here. With more crowd control, you can dictate the pace even more. With more damage output, you can stay in the fight longer as well. And if you don't have enough damage output, you run out mid-fight, and if you use it on the wrong target, it's also catastrophic. So I think for both teams, it's going to really center around that.
Interesting. I mean, overall, with the way that the game has been played thus far, let's have a look at our MVP of this game. Let's check out the back rooms to show you the live reaction because, oh my goodness, Forbid came out big time in this game for the little guns here. Give me hands up for the man himself, all the way from Mongolia. Let's have a look at his stats.
All right, Forbid MVP of game number 2. And we already highlighted this, the value of vision provided by that Astral Echo for a team that wants to set up ambushes is huge. Not to mention, the increased hitboxes that allow for Ethan to get those spatial migrations even more easily is just the cherry on top.
Not to mention the slow, right? People don't really consider it because it's so,
True.
you know, so...
It's so minuscule half the time. It's
Exactly.
like, oh yeah, it's here.
Even without the Ice Queen's wand right here, that small bit of slow is also what allows, let's say, the Phobias to just get that much more damage in, as well as the Nolan, right? It seems like the whole team has a bit more slow focus card control instead of just hard knockups and the like. So I feel like it's definitely well deserved, and considering how difficult it is to dive in the backline with a fighter instead of an assassin, I think he performed really, really well.
Well, he played real good, and let's have a look at the highlights brought to you by Grab Unlimited here, because I think with a lot of the situations that were going around, right, we were expecting Zixora to get harassed all game, like from the beginning. As soon if he misses a single purple buff, that's when he's going to start falling off really, really quick. But the way that we've seen Umbrella Squad actually kind of maneuver around the situation was interesting in the earlier stages, but you can instantly see the fall off once you give someone like Nolan this amount of space.
And I feel like for Umbrella Squad, they're really susceptible to getting ambushed right here. Because again and again, it seems like when Lilgun just lies in wait for someone to just walk in, they get that very favorable fight. But if they both just go in reflexively, it seems like that's where Umbrella Squad really have the advantage. So I think that's an approach that both teams can really try and fix and change depending on the situation.
Okay. If that's the case, maybe this could be a potential sign that it's time for the Umbrella Squad to show us how to team fight once again. Go for a 5v5 style comp.
The thing is, that's not really the style of Umbrella Squad going into this this series, right? One thing that we have to know is that these are both fairly aggressive teams that are willing to trade bodies in fights. But the difference they approach fights is very evident, where Team Lilgun is usually together, and Umbrella Squad usually enters the fray quite individually. It works out when they have lots of disengage tools, but you have to know, the Roma is actually one of the more passive players in the team. And we could see the effects of that.
Interesting. So it could have been just the Hilda as a pick overall rather than going for something a little bit more aggressive. Who's to say, right? Maybe the numbers.
I mean, towards the end earlier, I think Fangor was getting more value even. It's kind of funny, we see Hilda as an early game focused hero, but in the late game, that's where he really showed that he's able to just push away Zixora or Bebex if they were kind of walk up without really checking the bushes. I feel like that kind of impact is required even earlier on, because the lack of scouting right here is, I think, what is really holding back Umbrella Squad. They had the damage, they had the item spikes as well with the back and forth tempo of that game, but they just weren't able to get there often enough. So if they can find a way to get more mobility, more scouting, I feel like that is something they can definitely use. Looking at the post-game stats, though, it's still a 5k gold difference, and when it comes to objectives, there's only one picked up by Umbrella Squad. So I think when it comes to the slower set up team fights, I think Lilgun definitely has a bit of an edge. And with more AoE in this composition as well compared to Umbrella Squad, 5v5 is something that they don't really want to take.
I think it's difficult, right? Because Troublemaker was getting taken out, like, what, I would say 3 out of 5 times before the fight even begins, right? Or maybe he's just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, instantly gets jumped on by Ethan, or it doesn't necessarily have to be Ethan, just a combination of Forbid and Zixora. Again, it's one of those things where we're hoping that Fangor is going to be that guy to take the brunt of the damage rather than a significant laner.
Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that very often, and even when Fangor was tanking that damage, he was basically just getting picked off by himself while trying to secure vision for the team. What Umbrella Squad is going to need to work on here is their overall team coordination, because now that Lilgun did have some pickoff in the form of the Guinevere and the Nolan combination, you see how much it messed up their team fighting. Not to mention the Phobia's pick being very decisive. You normally wouldn't reveal that so quickly, even with the joy and so on, but They just went for it.
Don't forget the Novario as well. They can really follow up on those pickoffs from really, really far away. So he does not really put in a vulnerable spot to be taken advantage of by the fighters, by the Leomord, for instance, or the Joy, but still able to actually get so much value, so much presence in this game from far away. Yeah, the cards right here, the carry is actually Bebex with a 49k goal, 49k damage dealt here. So, I mean, damage is definitely still there.
He definitely was still there, but unfortunately just... It's difficult, right? Let's look at the team fight participation. Maybe that tells us a different story, because Troublemaker, 17% expected, he died a majority of the time. That's totally fine. But then Black March, right? I was waiting for the effect to happen when this 1-1 actually gets relevant enough to take on people like Aizen or maybe even Ethan in these 1v1 scenarios where they're looking to engage and he needs to kite away.
Yeah, you can see it's almost kind of split apart right here. The fact that there's two members with an 83% kill participation in the side of Umbrella Squad, and everyone else kind of low right there, just kind of hints at the two members just doing a lot of things without the assistance of the rest and still getting the kills done. So it's either them going in separately as a, which is also a big problem, or they are just going in afterwards and not together anyway. So regardless of what the problem is there, I think that the disparity in the teamfight participation is a pretty bad sign with the coordination.
Well, I mean, it could be one of those things where we gotta change things up, go for maybe even a skirmisher comp, but we'll see how this is going to start playing out. Any more thoughts here for Umbrella Squad to really bring out the best in them?
The thing is, this is kind of a personality thing. There's a very clear split, right? Where Marl, Troublemaker, and Castle want to make things happen, and Black March and Fango are actually more passive. It's just kind of a natural thing. So they either need to change a personality trait, or they gotta change the draft to take advantage of it.
With that being said, we're gonna go on a short break, and when we come back, we're going to see the very final game of Game 1 here at the M5 Wildcards. Welcome everybody to the M5 World Championship. And so far, here at the wildcard stage, things have been, I don't know, it's hard to explain the feeling seeing these new regions come in and show off of what they got. We see potentially the highest highs, but also at the same time, you get a bit of what the lows could potentially look like at the same time. So it's stressful to imagine, and I have to admit, that stage is intimidating. I'm sure that after game one, I think that little gun finally got the nerves out to play their own game. And Umbrella Squad, on the other hand, it could just be the draft.
I think the mental state still is a very huge part of playing, especially up on stage right here. For a lot of these teams, it is like one of the first times. And the fact that they're already in a foreign country, right, technically. So I think that's still a big factor to try and take into consideration. Although, as we were discussing earlier, some of these drafts, they're maybe a bit too creative. We were thinking like maybe there'll be like one crazy pick, but we're seeing sometimes two or even three crazy picks. And it's hard to like really think about what exactly is the thought process behind them.
All right, let's jump right into it. The teams have all been preparing so hard, and more importantly so, they had some time to actually get a bit of a break, understand what's going wrong, come up with an adaptive plan, and to execute it here in game number 3 to close out this series. Stafa, you were mentioning earlier about Umbrella Squad's Roamer being a little passive on this Hilda. What is a hero that actually is going to benefit that sort of play style?
Rather than going for like the dive engage style, go for the counter engage style. We saw him play the Minotaur in game 1. That's an excellent hero because you know that it's going to instantly counter anyone running at you. On a Hilda, you have to be very proactive, and we can see that the personality type of the player doesn't quite seem to match the hero.
Well, earlier we saw that the Minotaur was banned away by Lilgun, probably taking that into consideration. But the hero that's open that I think serves a bit of a similar purpose is the Edith, right? A good AoE, re-engage, counter-engage, onward as well. And worst case scenario, you can get out with the Primal Wrath. So it's a bit more multifunctional compared to a Hilda. So I think that is something that Umbrella Squad can pretty reliably, I think, experiment with.
Multifunctional. Okay, I feel like, especially when I see Edith, maybe it's because I've been tempered by watching a lot of, Southeast Asian games most of the time, when you're expecting this Edith, as soon as like she hits level 2, you're right up in somebody's face. You are ganking from weird angles. As soon as you have your flicker up, you're looking to help your jungler or maybe even your gold laner to secure a kill. And I don't know whether that playstyle might benefit him. I do agree that the ultimate is a good way to kind of be in that style, right? Oh no, they engaged on me. I have an easy way to disengage and maybe even look for a re-engage later on with my team.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation to be in. There's not a lot of heroes that fulfill that kind of niche. Minotaur, Atlas, not really meta anymore.
Lolita's not bad.
It's not a bad idea here, but I'm not sure if it's within the hero pool. We'll see, because right now what we've gotten from the first couple of games is how strong the identity of each of these teams are. Lilgun is about that team play, about achieving whatever they want and trading whatever is necessary. If the gold laner has to die to win this fight, they're going to commit for it. Whereas on the other side, Umbrella Squad, they want to make those flashy plays. They want to make the hero plays. We already saw Troublemaker do it successfully. So draft once again is that determining factor.
Okay. So at least 14 Lil Gun, the ends justify the means. At least for Umbrella Squad, the ends do justify the means. I just want to look cool doing it.
Yes.
I mean, I think they're just intent on making the crazy, we call it in Indonesia the freestyle plays happen, right? When
Freestyle
Yeah, it's like
plays?
it's not supposed to work, but then they do crazy stuff, freestyle, and then somehow it just works out using the mechanics. I think they can really do that, but if they're really thinking that, dang, we're really losing out in this team composition, team setup playstyle, they can default back to comfort picks, and maybe that's just the way to go for this team, man.
Right. With that being said, I think it's time to jump right into the drafting phase here at Wildcard. And this is where it gets really scary, right? Let's see who's going to be on blue side, who is going to be on red side. This could predetermine a lot of things for these big personalities of a team. It looks like Umbrella Squad is going to be taking blue.
All right, that first pick going to be pretty valuable here, but Lilgun will have that counter play. We'll figure out whether that's going to benefit them right now, as the Baxia and Wanwan will be banned out by Umbrella Squad, and the Matilda is banned out by Lilgun.
Also, the Baxia is always banned away by the Umbrella Squad, so you have to wonder if they're just concerned about the rotations, right? If they want to play and split apart make solo plays happen again and again in multiple areas of the map. These really high-speed movement heroes can really throw a wrench in that plan. So that might be the idea. So it's with the 1-1 as well. The outplay potential 1v1 is something that can really turn the tides around.
Well, I think even for the Umbrella Squad, they recognize it, right? For a lot of teams, I've followed the same philosophy. If they're willing to pick it up, they're more than willing to ban it out at the same time. They understand its strengths and weaknesses.
I do ban a Nolan, so the big burst damage coming out of Zixora in Game 2 was a big problem for them, especially when combined together with Ethan on that Guinevere. Considering that Umbrella Squad are on blue side, there might be a good chance that they want to prioritize the Gwyn this time.
I'm wondering a bit more about the mid lane situation right here. Early on, I thought that something with a good wave clear, like the Nova, like the Lilia, was going to be picked up by Umbrella Squad, but they flexed the Joy there instead. And we already know that the mid control is so important now, especially if you want to go aggressively in the early game. So, was that one of the problems? Probably. It depends if they think so. If they do, then I think we're going to see the mid laners show up a lot faster.
All right. I mean, Fanny gets banned out here. This could be an instant Valentina pick. It's your true, traditional, classic flex. But it could also be Novaria at the same time. We saw how much devastation Lil Gun can do when they have the information to make those choices. And I think at least from Umbrella Squad, yes, we could fight literally anywhere across the map. I just don't have to transverse halfway across the map to do so.
Not to mention the heavy roam strategy with the Novaria is very effective as well, because you go for the Wilderness Blessing, it also technically boosts your damage indirectly, because you can move further away when you're using the Astral Recall before going in with that Astral Sphere. Now, they're letting go the Guinevere in favor of that Joy, which was having a lot of trouble in game number 2.
Yeah, I don't know what's making, at the very least, what's making Umbrella Squad lean in deeper into this, but we'll see in a little bit, right? Because the double flex pick, once again, coming in from Lil God, if Arla and as well as his Gwen are on the table, they're more than happy to take it, especially considering their overall play style of, let's get chaotic, let's fight. These are two heroes that are good at doing that.
I really love the stolen Arlet as well, just to make sure that Castle cannot get his hands on it again, so he is going to go for that Terizla as the default response. Bruno will allow for Black March to win out his lane a little bit more easily, but we're gonna need to see a slightly more aggressive presence from this gold laner.
I wonder if the Angela is going to make an appearance. I feel like it has potential in both these compositions, and I think earlier it was banned out. Was it not banned out in game number 2? I don't think it was,
No,
actually.
I think that was game number 1, right, that it got banned out?
Yeah, so it's available, and it's possible. Which, again, begs the question that for Umbrella Squad, an Angela with like a Leomorph, for instance, sounds like a very good combo.
I'm liking this idea, right? Because especially for Angela, it benefits players who are passive, but it's highly beneficial for players who are aggressive, right? You give trouble, you'll be taken away a little too much from Troublemaker, so I can understand if Vanguard decides to pick it up, but at the end of the day, you can look for these counter engages while keeping your team topped up.
The question is whether or not Enchanter-style heroes are going to be a priority for Umbrella Squad. We haven't really seen it in the hands of Vanguard just yet, but we definitely have to hold our breath a little bit. Anything can happen. We've already seen all sorts of weird picks here on the wildcard stage. The Diggy does get banned out by Lil Gun, similar to Game 1. And this actually kind of cost them the game in Game 1.
Right, the lack of crowd control immunity. But you know, with that logic right here, if we assume that the Joy is going to the mid lane, then Umbrella Squad can go for like a Martis here and be immune to a lot of these threats. And they can go for a Grok if they really want to double down on it, but that's going to be probably a roaming Grok, so I don't know how much they like that idea.
Well, we'll see, we'll see. We never know with some of these younger regions what kind of crazy ideas that they're going to bring on an international stage. Brody gets banned out for the side of Umbrella Squad. I mean, it makes sense. We saw in game number 1, it didn't exactly do too well, but at the very least, you know it's in his hero pool. Let's just axe it out early.
Want to really win out that gold lane here. Again, we've talked about the importance of lane advantage for Umbrella Squad in particular. The more snowball they get early, the easier it allows them to transition into the mid to late game. Now as for Lil Gun, what else are they going to be looking for here? Their lineup is pretty flexible right now with the Arlet and the Guinevere.
I do wonder if the Angel now gets banned out, so they're suspecting that something might be up from Umbrella Squad. Are they going to try and maybe fall back on the Gusion? I mean, it worked so well, but it could be just, you know, a surprise last pick, right? That really throws off your opponents. It might work once, But as the old adage goes, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I keep getting that mixed up. I
Understandable.
can never get it right.
How many times has that fooled you?
Like 8 times. You try to use an
count of
MPL
it?
ID, and everyone keeps calling me out for it. Like, bro, you've tried this so many times. How do you not get it done properly?
There's a counter.
I swear, you're gonna get a tattoo of it one day, and it's still gonna be wrong.
Oh, but look at this though. Lil Gun gonna be stealing away that game 1 draft, the Arlet Minotaur Guinevere.
Dude, that's so much. See, wait, I feel like Lil Gun is like, hey, Umbrella Squad's draft? That was kind of sick, right? Let's
kinda
make
good,
it
bro.
better.
That is insane. Oh, with the Valentina, now there's a counter potential, but there's no real solution right here. Everyone is relatively close range, maybe mid-range at best, even the Valentina. So it's looking like a very tough team fight right here with 3 potential engage tools available for Lil Gun.
Yeah.
Umbrella Squad, what's the last pick here? What is the solution?
Oh, the Grok.
It's actually a Grok, wow.
You're right. All right.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past Fangor to say that he wouldn't want to play Grok, but I don't think there's anything much better than that right now because we're talking about like disengage for your team.
Ooh.
Holy cow! Oh my
Literally.
goodness!
That's a combo, all right.
That's disgusting. Oh, whoever gets stun locked is gonna die for sure, man.
It's almost like it's a, people think the Ixia's full barrage is a full DPS tool, but technically it's a bit more like a pick-off burst tool because it's limited in durations and shots. You combine that with a Novario, this is looking like a very scary combination. It might be even deadlier than the Beatrix combo.
Honestly, I think it might just be,
Yes.
especially once she's gotten like 3 items down. Like she's gonna be melting people, melting them. Oh, this one's a really tough one to decide. I'm really liking Lil Gun's draft a lot.
Yeah, they're bringing guns to the battle right now, and it's not just a little gun, it's a pretty big one in the form of that full barrage, and literally everyone else on the little gun is designed to set that up for him. Game 3 between Team Lil Gun and Umbrella Squad will now commence. Which of the regions will emerge superior upon the land of dawn?
It's gonna be Umbrella Squad on blue side against Lil Gun on the red side. This is some really scary stuff, right? Because immediately what comes to my mind is, hey, where is Umbrella Squad going to attack? I'm guessing they're looking for Bebex straight up. They need to make sure that this lane is won.
As predicted, Gideon, Fangor making his way down there. But I think the real linchpin of this entire game is going to be Marl. If he can get to the back line, Novaria, Ixia, those are easy pickings for this Joy. Only if he can get past everyone else. So I think if he gets ahead, if he has space to really maneuver in the big team fights, that is where Umbrella Squad can get the win.
Castle already targeted heavily. Aizen securing the first blood easily with a spatial migration set up by his jungle.
Really bad time to die there. And worse yet, also loses that flicker. I'm guessing that the first turtle at least is going to lean over to the side of the Team Lil Gun here. But let's have a look at the overall emblems while Aizen gets free hits off of Fangor.
Well, Aizen has the basic emblem right now, so he is happy to just trade in HP bars. But look at this!
Xora again with the follow-up onto Ether. And it's going to be punishing that Grok straight away. Castle just coming in to watch his teammate die again.
Dude, who is calling the shots from the side of Team Lil Gun here? If it was Aizen, oh my goodness, he almost made the play with Xora.
Ooh, troublemaker now, they're getting chased down. And this is the sustained difference as well, man. Lil Gun can keep going for these half engages without fully committing, and they won't really lose much because they have the sustained advantage as well. They win in crowd control. In a way, they win in damage output, and they also win in sustain. There's a very limited amount of ways that Umbrella Squad can really come out on top in a big fight.
Do see that Marl is trading that purple buff. He knows his team is not in a state to contest this objective right now, so stealing the buff away is the best thing that he can do. He will be successful. Black Marsh actually taking a lot of poke damage here. Bebex already leading in terms of EXP as well.
I think we need to keep in mind that at the very least Forbid.
Oh, Troublemaker gets that Min 1 Fury out. Forbid flickers over the wall to make sure that he's safe. And after that, nothing happens.
Very crazy back and forth right here. But in the gold lane, by the way, the Ixia is actually one of the stronger laners. we do think of her as a late-game power spike hero, but in the laning phase, the fact that you have built-in sustain, some self-crowd control, and trading tools, you actually hold your own, even against a lane bully like the Bruno. Of course, that's before factoring in the interference from the other laners.
I think the matchup only becomes difficult is what. Oh, wait. I mean, once again, Ethan is getting on top of the right targets, but making sure that he is opening up and giving that free information on the bottom side. But yeah, as I was saying earlier, at the very least, he has the damage to make something happen, and this could potentially be devastating for Umbrella Squad.
And we're already seeing the coordination from Lil Gun, feeling very confident about the stage of the game, and who can blame him? They've got so much crowd control that anything Umbrella throws at them, they'll probably have a response to it, so they can position themselves without too— Oh, the flicker! Reaction timing from Ethan. Penalty zone wasted.
Well, we'll see if it's wasted, because now they're going for a fight.
Marl gonna go for the electrifying beats onto 4-bit, but forced to run away because he doesn't have enough damage to finish things off quick enough. Wild charge onto Zexora, but the Minoan Fury comes out into the full barrage. Zexora still gets picked off, but they will trade Troublemaker for it.
Mid lane for a jungle right there. I think for Team Lilgun, it's still value because they got a kill in the hands of Babex as well. But man, they're just trading out spells, and there's almost like a bit of a duel there, a Minion Fury standoff between Ethan and Troublemaker. That could be very decisive right there, and I think they need to try and let Fangor do something in the fight as well. He has a lot of things to say here, being crowd control immune and having the wild charge.
I mean, he can definitely open up the map, but at a certain point, when you don't have the wild charge like he does right now, it's very scary to put yourself in these positions to try and fake it out.
Marl comes on in, electrifying beats. Zexora secures the turtle. Castle with the penalty zone catches 2, stuns them up, but he's now completely abandoned by his team. Marl coming in a bit too late, but he should get the kill onto Zexora, but they'll cost him as the atmosphere finds him. The flicker from Bebex doesn't quite follow up, but Aizen is there to clean up the mess with a double kill.
Oh, unfortunate indeed. Unfortunate. While this has all been going down, Umbrella Squad make the smart decision of getting a quick, cheesy lane swap off of towards the top side of the map, knowing that Team Little Gun want to unlock Bebex, but at the same time, Umbrella Squad just evening out the gold no matter what. Oh, leaves it to the last
Deja
pick of
vu?
HP. 0.5 this time. Not deja vu. It's 0.5, not 1%. It's going to get lower and lower every time.
I mean, what's not different is the fact that the Arlet on the side of Lilgun this time is the exact opposite from Umbrella Squad, man. Earlier, the Arlet was like self-sacrificial. Aizen is just going in hard. He wants blood, man.
He is. He's definitely not happy. You can tell with the way that he is laning and how he's calling in for ganks on towards L bushes at level 2. You know that he wants to put the hurt into Castle.
There's definitely a bit of a vendetta happening right here between the EXP laners. In the meantime, though, a beautiful stun into Final Slash for Bit, flickers to safety, and the Minoan Fury catches out Troublemaker and Fangor, who are both dispatched. It's instant success. The full barrage comes out, but Bebex is exposed, so Black Mars will punish his positioning. Marl able to escape through the backline as well, actually going for the greedy steal on the purple buff, but will decide not to commit.
A bit over-aggressive from Team Lilgun, man, losing both the backliners. That is not how you want to play the fight in. They used the bulk of their crowd control aggressively, and as a result, the backline is just exposed. Can't do that.
I mean, it's not only that. There's also the question, did Bebex realize he was getting auto-attacked by Bruno? Like, or maybe he just forgot. This is, you know, his first time using a brand new ROG, and he's like, where's the button to cancel again? It's too late.
Maybe. Or maybe he just thinks that, hey, my friends got me, right? Right? and then before he knows it, man, Blackmar just comes in with the balls. You gotta be careful about that, man.
Yeah, I mean, right now he is starting to scale up, right? Black March has 2 kills, 1 assist in the back. I'm sure that he's already completed at least. Wait, hold on.
Wow, Castle's just getting bursted down here, instantly taken out. Astral Echo scots out Marl as Aizen zones out Black March. Ethan somehow surviving on literally no health. He'll be able to walk out of there. Fangor, I don't know what you're doing here, man. That's not where you want to be. Wall charge, not even going to finish before Bebex gets that kill. Troublemaker though, still in position. He's got final slash stolen. He's gonna reveal himself, going for Bebex, but it's not gonna be enough. Turtle secured. He gets the stun into the full barrage, and Zexora with the killing spree. Forbid gonna be sacrificed. Aizen actually killing Black March in bot lane 1v1. Penalty zone cancels the engage. Marl able to walk away because of this, but Zexora still re-engaging and setting up the kill for his goal laner.
Oh my goodness, Umbrella Squad is literally never back down, never what? Never give up! As each of the members walk in one by one. When do they back down? When do they call it quits? It's like they're digging deeper into the wound.
To infinity and beyond goes Umbrella Squad.
Oh,
they might get this turret. Is it gonna be a deja vu? Not again.
That's like about
7.
It's really hard from that particular perspective, but let's look at the items and maybe we can get a deeper look into it.
Well, Forbid now has the penetration boot, so he's going for a bit more of that early damage. That's what we're seeing here, and that's helping the whole team snowball. Along with that, rushing the Enchanted Talisman, he wants to be always on the map and always having those spells, because Novaria's spells are on a very, very long cooldown. On the other side, Bebex already has a Demon Hunter sword on top of the Corrosion scythe. So in a big fight, if Umbrella don't get on top of him, it's going to be very difficult for them to maneuver around that slow coming in as well.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Ethan decided to go for a first item rush Athena shield. He's eventually going to get a Dominance Ice, but it's funny to imagine that his big problem was, oh man, Troublemaker and Marl, they're going to get me again.
It's an understandable concern though, because you know that these are going to be the players on Umbrella Squad that actually run at them. So if you have a solution, then you can slow down the fight for the rest of your team.
I feel like it's a little ironic, but considering that Team Little Gun has a 4.2k as of yet, they're looking to push momentum. This next Lord is going to be quite important, and I think Team Little Gun, considering what their comp wants to do, just let it go to 12 minutes. Let it become an empowered Lord. Let Umbrella Squad take the initiative and then look to punish.
Oh, but speaking of punish, Zexora gonna find Fangor once again. Ryler Requiem, but a 3-man knockup into the penalty zone. Full barrage though, never punished. Team Lil Gun are destroying Umbrella Squad, chasing down their members one by one. That's gonna be a wipeout for the side of Team Lil Gun.
Oh, it looks like Bebex has found the cancel full barrage button. Turns it around, full wipeout. Like, that was disgusting from Team Lil Gun.
Extra damage, extra sustain against assassins. You need some help, bro. There's no way you duel him, especially when he's so far ahead in gold and EXP. The Lord now getting taken. And what can Umbrella Squad do when Lil Gun, they just keep going for fights and they're coming out on top. Another one. Again and again until they get the full wipeout.
Oh man, if they keep going on with this type of momentum, I don't know. Umbrella Squad might just start to crumble even after having an incredible game number 1 and a back and forth in game number 2. This is Lil Gun dominant 7.7k at 10 minutes 40 seconds.
You get a kind of feel for Troublemaker, man. He was such a standout player game 1. Game 2, not so much. Game 3 right now, also feeling the heat. It's that 3-man roam strategy, bro. And on top of that, a winning EXP lane. Because Lil Gun has invested so much in getting Aizen ahead. He is tanky and he does damage. The Arlet, man, if he's ahead, he's like the full package.
He really is. He really is with the amount of CC that they actually have to trigger that vengeance again for him to keep on going and sustaining. But let's see, as they start the siege on towards the inhibitors.
Lord gonna crashing in the mid lane right here. Team Lil Gun still positioning themselves defensively, but Aizen looking, he finds the final slash onto Castle, but they're not gonna engage onto it just yet. The Lord has already fallen, and Umbrella Squad should be able to get out of this without too much structural damage unless Lil Gun try to go for more.
I think Aizen should get his ult back up the same time he gets his flicker. 3 seconds off-ish, but it could have been the play there, right? That could have been a really insane play had he committed with the flicker on top of everything to catch as many people as possible. However, the second wave, it's coming out a little slow. There's nothing much they can really do about this.
But now with the control right here, we're talking about Umbrella Squad susceptible to ambushes, and Team Lil Gun having the superior. Whoa!
Excuse me?
Big brain question mark? Fangor.
He's like, guys.
If that landed, he's a god. Unfortunately, that is not the case right now today. And just like that, now they have no real way to really check out the bushes right here. Team Lil Gun, they're just satisfied waiting around here, controlling the map, getting that goal difference even further ahead. And a Scar Guard and Helmet is going to ensure that Zixora can't just stay on the map indefinitely.
Yeah, it's difficult. It really is difficult with little vision to actually work around. You're constantly getting harassed by Forbid, who just is relentless. This man is relentless. Checking out all the buffs, making sure that they keep tabs on Umbrella Squad, and more importantly, we are seeing some great engages coming in from Zura.
Yeah, being able to catch people out. And right now, I think this game tree is really showing us the depths of Team Little Gun's hero pool. The fact that the Guinevere has already been flexed into 2 positions, the Minotaur being picked up, the Arlet being played in such a different way than what we saw in the hands of Castle previously. This is a team that really needs to be respected. This could be dangerous here. He's looking for Zexora, but the Springle Migration finds him. But the Wild Charge is going to cancel it out, keeping the joy alive.
Man, that's the tankiness coming in, man. The Guinevere with a lot of utility, a lot of mobility, and still, that's the tankiness to just suck in damage. And look at the sustain, bro. Especially with the Lord now doing more damage, it's so valuable to have. And Aizen can just zone everyone out. And whoa! What for?
No, he was like, I want Castle. Separate him away.
Mara coming in from the back line, Lord dropping low, Zexora's controlling it, Ethan with the Moon and Fury, instant final barrage, and seals the Lord away! Castle gets picked off, but Umbrella Squad have already gotten the prize they wanted. Lil Gun looking for the punish, can they find it? They get one, but the final slash pushes him into the tower, Troublemaker steals the right ult, they still somehow lose Black March, but at least he gets the shutdown.
They just bought themselves so much time with that steal, and Team Little Gun, they just have to accept it. They're like, okay, it just happened. Never mind. Let's try and recuperate and try to simulate that again, but this time we get the Lord. All right, boys?
Was that a bit of a shutdown on Zora?
It
because
is.
Look at the gold swing, man. It was at almost 10k. Now it's back to 3. So with the turrets, with the quote-unquote shutdown on Zora as well, Umbrella Squad are coming back in here. If Team Lilgun don't recover and stop the momentum in its tracks, this might be difficult, man. I think part of the reason that went south for Team Lilgun is that BMX was using the full barrage. Some of it might have strayed over to the Lord, just throwing off the calculations from Zixora.
Possibly, and it's pretty bursty as well, right? Especially with that first skill, cutting through multiple targets, it really could skew the numbers. I think in this particular case, like, that Team Lilgun needs to kind of get Umbrella Squad to come in, to commit a little deeper into these fights, right? Again, the final slash was used super early into the fight. It probably could have been held for later.
Wow, Marl going really deep here for Forbid. Never punished. He's going to be immune to CC, so he will walk out of there while providing some much-needed vision for his team.
That's just going back to the setup style right here. Look at the goal difference in the EXP lane, dude. A 3K. Actually, Aizen is just insane right here. And he still has all the respect items built up. The Athena, the blade armor as well. It's going to be so difficult for Umbrella Squad to take him down. And even if they do, at what cost? The shutdown is going to be valuable, but in this late stage of the game, the death timers might just be too costly for Umbrella Squad to attempt such a play.
Honestly, it might just be. And I did see a Holy Crystal purchase coming in from Forbid, so anybody who doesn't have an Athena shield could potentially get 80% of their HP chunked out.
That's the disgusting part of Novaria. Once you get into this late game stage, Bebex also completed the Rose Gold Meteor, so that'll make sure the Ixia is a little bit safer to the die from Umbrella.
A lot more sustain built in as well. If you thought it's really difficult earlier, it's going to be more difficult now. But look at Zixora, man. He's not only just waiting for possibly a pickoff, he's also just giving vision for his team. Now they know they're on the top side, and look at this. He's even waiting in the bush right here.
Yep. I mean, that's all you can really do as a Grok as of right now, right? Your main damage dealer is kind of a little nearby, but this could be the ambush of the Centuary. Bruno, so very close to where Guinevere is just patiently waiting, right? You don't walk up to this. You never want to walk up to the lane in this state.
Zixora's just waiting and hoping that a present comes to his doorstep here, but good positionings there, making sure they're not going to get caught out. Now Umbrella Squad actually have control over the Lord Pit.
Okay, I think at this point, they've already been revealed. They can't just like back away and start clearing the bottom side first and then go back into mid to reclaim the space. Can be a little difficult. Man, Zora's so patient, he's still waiting.
He doesn't have to do anything. There's no real job description right here. Everyone else can really open the map, and now he can set up for a huge flank right here. If he gets on Black March, with some follow-up by either Bebex or Forbit. Not even need the two of them. Could be massive.
Electrifying beats already used up, not able to find Forbid. Zexora
Oh.
finally leaves his hibernation hole there and starts working on the Lord alongside the rest of Team Lilgun. Umbrella Squad still in good condition, but they're waiting on Marl's ultimate cooldown to reset once again. So this is a chance for Lilgun. Castle gonna be quite far out there, but they're still not engaging. Troublemaker flickers in with the final slash. Midwind Fury gonna cancel it out with Wild Charge, but the full barrage doing so much damage! Bebex flickers forward, gets the mega kill, going to dismantle the backline. Black March now in a lot of trouble. He does a good amount of damage, so he pops Aizen's immortality, but the Lord has been secured by Zexora.
Dude, Zexora nearly whiffed that.
Yeah.
That was so close.
Oh, he retributed so early. I think he was expecting Bebex to keep hitting it with him, and as soon as Bebex stopped, he was like, wait a second, hold up, hold up. I
I mean, they mistimed the retreat, quote unquote, but he also almost got killed, man. The Lord damage right now is just so painful, even to tanks, because it does percentage HP damage, which is why Team Lilgun technically was fighting an uphill battle, but they've made it work, and now with Castle just now respawning, is it going to be a 3-lane push? Is it going to be a brute force dive? There's a lot of ways they can try and go here. With 9k gold advantage, brute force is possible.
We'll find out. Final slap
Whoa.
pushing Castle out of his base. Zexora in the back line. Wild Charge is not going to cancel this time, but he dies to the tower. And full barrage is cancelled by Wild Charge. Fangor gonna get punished by this, but his job is already done. The rest of Umbrella Squad trying to deal with the Lord in the mid lane. They've already lost one inhibitor. Team Lilgun gonna be looking for more, setting their sights on the top tower. Bebex actually really far out here, and Marl is gonna capitalize. Pops his immortality, and the Troublemaker gets the shutdown. Lilgun makes a mistake.
No! The direction of the final slash was so off there. Holy!
It's not even just that. Bebex walks in the base. Usually you would walk on the outside, but he was just feeling it, I guess. Walking in the front, putting him in a tough situation, and his team could not bail him out. What a disaster.
I mean,
they do get 2 base turrets, but dang, that could have been cheaper for them.
it really could. It really could. At least Umbrella Scott was able to put a tax on them at the very least. The kill score is 8-22. You would have imagined this game was already done, but we're approaching the 20-minute mark in this game.
They're just way too sketchy. Now with the gold difference only 5k, and going to the 20-minute mark, long games we're having right here, gentlemen, but this is where the goal difference is going to start slowing down. So now Team Lilgun, it's not nearly as easy as it was. They're not really snowballing anymore. Everyone's level 15. Everyone is getting almost full items.
Zexora misses his dash over the wall, forced to use Violet Requiem. Wild Charge finds him to final slash, pushes them into the tower. Fangor and Castle get picked off. Full barrage doing massive damage. Zexora finally falls, but so does Marl, so does Black March. Umbrella Squad are falling one by one once again. Aizen chasing down Troublemaker to make sure that he cannot return to the base. And Valentina trying to do his best to survive, to buy time, to see if he can keep his team in the game. But Aizen will get that legendary, even taunt him for good measure. Castle, the only one left, 3-man penalty zone, but what does it matter? Forbid gets the mega kill, and with a single minion, Team Lilgun will wipe out Umbrella Squad and secure their victory.
Woo! What a series this has been between these two competitors. Absolutely nasty stuff. GG, well played to Team Lilgun.
Exciting is an understatement, man. The amount of heart attacks us on the desk have experienced in the course of that match. Unreal. What a show.
What a shocker, really. Like, honestly, I'm very happy to see the state of Umbrella Squad, but they have things to work on. The same goes for Lilgun, but when the going gets tough, Lilgun is the one that's going to tough it out. And Aizen, I mean, I don't like making puns, but man, he came back with a vengeance on that one. 0 deaths, final slash to set up the play, potentially the play of the day.
That last move was personal right there when he chased down Troublemaker and recall spams on his grave. Yeah.
Yeah, like, who are you? Game 1 MVP? Nah. You're going down.
Going down, brother. Man, that was nasty. Whew. This Has been quite some time, but let's throw it over to our hosts up on a stage.
Congratulations. Give Team Little Gun a round of applause. Ethan, well done. What did you think about that game that you had?
First game, my coach said we just a little bit too excited, and last two and third games, we did just our normal things. We just played like when we do before. Yeah.
So you were in the first game. Your coach said you were excited.
Yeah,
Does
really.
that mean excited? You were nervous or you were rattled? What happened in the first game?
Yeah, first game, I'm just a little bit nervous.
Just a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
So how did you get over the nervousness? How did you and your team get over that to make sure that you were able to take this game?
Yeah, in the we just talk each other very well, and yeah, we just calm. Yeah.
You just want to calm down.
Yeah, apparently calming down is the way that you win the game. Now, Ethan, I do have to ask. Today we've seen all the teams play. After fighting against Umbrella Squad, do you think any other team will be a bigger challenge than them for you guys after this?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe SMG from Malaysia.
So you feel like SMG is still a threat after going through what happened with Umbrella Squad?
Yeah.
So SMG is the toughest opponent that you think out of
Yeah.
all the teams. So is there any specific player there that you think is a great threat to you guys?
I have no idea. Yeah, Stormy? Okay, Stormy.
Yeah, Stormy, totally amazing player.
So after this series, now you're going to go back in the dugout. You're going to be talking to your team. What are you going to be telling them?
Good job, guys, and I'm really proud of them. Yeah.
And we're so proud of you. And for sure, your country's proud of you. Everyone and the whole world is watching right now. Is there a message that you want to say to them, Ethan?
I just want to say thank you. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Just keep supporting us. Yeah, we will do more for the win this tournament. Yeah.
All right, give a big round of applause for Ethan from Lil Gun. Again, congratulations very much. And with that, we're going to throw it back to the casters to talk to us about what happened in the game that Lil Gun won. So casters, please, tell us what's up.
Thank you, LaFell, as well as Amara, and as well as Ethan as well, for some heartfelt messages. Time to break it down, boys, because this has been quite an interesting series overall. I mean, great personality throughout both of these teams, but more importantly, what's really rocking the boat for these two? It can't just be, I want to fight. Maybe it's a rock, paper, scissors, but for game number 3 at the very least, what really turned for them?
I think in the end, we did discuss the importance of the draft and the fact that Team Lil Gun were able to get their hands on so many good heroes. The combination of Guinevere, Arlet, and Minotaur was already proven in Game 1. And we actually got to see even better micro mechanics in the hands of certain players here. It's just insane.
What about you, Arashi?
We were talking earlier about the fact that it really swing the game right here. We said crowd control, we said sustain, we said DPS. If you look at the draft for Lil Gun, they have all of that. And to a degree, so did Umbrella Squad, but I don't think it's comparable, especially because, well, technically there's so much more protection available for the side of Lil Gun, and they're up against an assassin. It's almost like the fixation of Umbrella Squad to go with an assassin just makes their team fight that much more difficult to execute.
Well, I don't know if it was just that, right? Because then again, Lil Gun did have some pretty good counter picks overall and small synergies that make these small skirmishes actually work. But let's have a look at our MVP of this particular match.
We gotta give a shout out to the player that really made an impact overall throughout the match, and that's going to be Aizen here on the Arlet. We already pointed this out, 0 deaths in a game as messy as that. This man had a vendetta.
He was really nasty on this Arlot, right? There were times that we were questioning, why Final Slash just one person? And so far, I mean, the Vengeance has not left this man with a team that synergizes very, very well with the amount of crowd control to allow him to dash around. He played phenomenally.
I think it's also very smart, his positioning in these fights, right? Because several times I feel like it's going to be an even team fight, but then Aizen shows up between the members of Umbrella Squad, and they're like, dang, how do we get past this guy, right? He has 2 crowd control tools, he's sustainable enough not to really get picked off, and he has all the tankiness items right here, and he has damage. So especially the backline members and the assassins, anyone who's not a tank can't really get past him unscathed. And let's take a look at the highlights right here, and maybe some of the lowlights as well. This game was just all over the place, but it's always so fun to look at the full barrage, and that is something that really swung the balance in favor of Lil Guns, literally living up to their team name.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that at least, like, even though we do see some really good moments with this full barrage, let's keep in mind that Marl was also trying to keep him in check when these full barrages actually happen. In this particular case, Medic's just not paying attention to Black Marsh walking up to him. But afterwards, that's when we see Marl really start to take the stand, right? I would say that the early game didn't exactly go the best for him, but at the very least, he was still trying to make an impact, jumping towards Mebex's side, trying to make something happen. But I feel like the Umbrella Squad, as flashy as they are, like to do things more individually rather than kind of setting it up as a 2, 3, 4-man squadron.
Especially with this kind of composition, grouping together is the last thing they want, but Lil Gun did not give them a choice at all. And it's funny, like we were talking about the 3 components that make this a good long duration team fight. Bebex alone in that hero has all 3. Right? And this at that moment there, ooh, Zora was taken so low, and me and Gideon, we just went, ooh.
Yep, we freaked out. We freaked out there for a second. We weren't entirely sure whether this was actually the right move. And here's the second one. It's just one of those situations where it's just like, okay, no harm, no foul. This is just going to be a little bit of a longer game. But at the end, why Aizen? He's been consistent. He hasn't died a single time. And despite having his own personal vendettas, when he needs to work with the team, he will absolutely do it. And especially when you have like a 15-second cooldown ult, why not?
This is a case of a team lineup that was drafted with a purpose and executed very well to achieve that. And unfortunately, I think Umbrella Squad still does have to work on that if they want to achieve a similar level of success. The fact that Marl and Castle are not taking advantage of each other's initiation, people are going in way too early, the roamer is so reactive instead of looking for opportunities. There's a lot to work on, but the potential is there.
They clearly have the mechanics for it. It's just how do you reinforce it with some refined macro to get your players in the position to make it work. I'm seeing you making some faces over there. What's going on there, Analyst Arashi?
I was pretty sure I saw that Zora had Impure Rage, unless I'm imagining things. But, well, he went with the Lethal Ignition here, it shows, so it's a very aggressive style of play. And with the Genius Wand, it's great synergy with how spammable the skills are, and of course with the Violet Requiem. With that Wombo combo, right, you land a Spatial Migration, the Violet Requiem shreds down the magic resist, the magic defense, and Forbid just comes in with the cleanup. He does have the Ice Queen's Wand as well to just add more utility. So you can imagine how difficult it was to get to the backline. There's a Minotaur, there's the Arlet, and there's the Ice Queen's Wand on top of the built-in slow already for the Novaria. It's so hard to go in the backline, and it's not like Marl did not attempt it. He kept going in, but he just kept getting punished.
Let's not forget that he's got 2 Bloodwings to try to make that happen, right? He is really, really trying hard. He's like, okay, I've got what do I have? I got a lot of magic damage. Okay, what does that scale into? Maybe a pretty decently sized shield, and even that was not enough to deal with Mebex.
He went double Bloodwings according to the items here, so he definitely wanted even more just pure raw magic damage, but it just wasn't enough. You can have all the damage in the world, but if you can't really apply it, right, use it towards the right target, it's a bit too difficult. We saw the one moment where Bebex walks up, he just got immediately deleted by like 2 beats from the electrifying beats. So unfortunately, it just didn't work out as planned. And the carry, man, almost 90,000 damage dealt by the Ixia. I wish we could say we're surprised, but not really.
Not really. I mean, Aizen, he does take the sandbag title with the damage that he's taken. I'm curious, how much damage? Yeah, how much damage did he heal from them having 0 deaths? Right. The fact that he was able to sustain for that long with so many different procs, it felt quite literally impossible to take him down.
It's quite insane. The thing is, Arlen as a hero is actually kind of vulnerable to burst, and we just didn't get to see that because of how scattered the engagement from Umbrella Squad was. It was layered. People just went in one by one, and that allowed Aizen the time needed to actually regen all this HP up. If there had been more coordination, if Marl just waited for like Castle or Fangor to initiate, even if they're the ones getting caught out, then he could have timed it to go to the back line. But we just didn't get to see that.
Yeah, I think trading 1-for-1 for the Fed Ixia is definitely going to be a value trade, but it just wasn't given to them. Partially because of Ethan on the Minotaur, man. There's a reason why he has 22 assists. Everyone was trying their best to get past him. And he's even tried to be countered using the IMU from Valentina. It just wasn't enough.
Yeah, I mean, we literally saw two Minnow and Furies just battling against each other in towards the bottom side, no, more than that, 6 minutes into the map. And more so that you realize that even for Troublemaker, like, stealing this ult isn't the end-all, be-all, unfortunately for him. Like, he recognizes that even with this amount of CC, it doesn't necessarily win his team fights.
Even went for the final slash towards the end right there, trying to get, switch it up, surprise, move everyone into a more clumped up spot, maybe for a combo from his team, but there just wasn't enough damage, and there wasn't enough security either. The Bruno is a decent range compared to the Ixia, about even, but in a big fight, the Ixia, all he has to do is just stay in the back, Babax just stays in the back, pops the ultimate, and he's pretty chill, right? There's no real long-range threats. The same cannot be said for the Bruno.
Yeah, unfortunately, as much as Bruno had the items to actually make it worth, closing the distance was very difficult for him to actually achieve. You walk up, you get stunned, it's basically over for you. And if you don't have your Winds of Nature, even more reason not to walk up.
There was a lot of potential in their execution. What Umbrella Squad just needs to work on now is to build that coordination, that synergy, and I feel like they will be a huge threat in the land of Dawn. But for now, Team Lilgan has really shown their superiority here. We already talked about the hero pool and the overall flexibility of this team, but after adjusting from their loss in Game 1, we get to see how adaptable they are as a team as well.
Yeah, and it's great to see them being not only adaptable, but warmed up, because that's when you see them really show themselves to the rest of the world, or in this case, Umbrella Squad, which begs the question, do you think that they can go far after this performance? Does this kind of change your mind, Arashi?
I feel like they can, but they have to really beware of just making those crazy risky plays. Like Bebex walking up there in the base, I get it's a 10k gold lead, but there's no way you think it's safe to be walking up there against a Joy, right? Against a Bruno. These are all burst heroes. So moments like that is where teams can really take advantage of Lilgan. So if they kind of minimize the frequency of such plays happening, I think they can get pretty far, man. The flexibility is there, the execution is there, and the game plan so far makes sense, right? It's very logically based.
With keeping that in mind, what about you, Sadafa? Umbrella Squad. Yes, this is their very first loss here at Wildcards, but moving on in towards the rest of the tournament, they still have other teams that actually fight in their group itself. Do you think that they can actually get to that point of refinement, or is it too much of a leap?
I'm gonna be honest, going into this competition, I didn't have a lot of stocks invested in Umbrella Squad, purely because of the issues we already saw here. But after witnessing their gameplay against Team Lilgan, it seems like this is a team that has a lot more potential than I initially gave them credit for. And if they're able to grow and overcome the mistakes that literally I talked about earlier, I think they are a genuine contender. It's just whether or not they can make it by the end of the wildcard.
Getting out of there is going to be tough for a lot of these teams. But hopefully they can actually achieve this with a possible two O's throughout the rest of their matches, potentially, hopefully.
Possibly. We don't know what's going to happen in future, but they sure have some glaring weaknesses. So if they can fix those as well, right, the one-dimensionality, the lack of proper execution, right, how they split apart and don't back each other up in the movements around the map, if those, once those problems get fixed, I mean, we've seen great teamfight execution coming from them, especially when it's all sporadic. And that might be what they can play into, right? A lot of teams are used to playing this neat teamfight, but if they can make it crazy, that is unfamiliar territory for a lot of teams, even ones that are not in the wild card.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. I like that a lot. But with that being said, this also is going to apply. And based on the teams that you've seen here today playing out their first matches, I'm curious. I'm curious to know who are the favorites.
Tough
I mean,
question here.
My predictions, I think, still stand. It was
still
SMG and Lil Gun at the start. It still is SMG and Lil Gun for me.
Nobody else has impressed you? What about you, Rashi? We're going to be pulling up the group standings, and maybe this can give you a clearer picture.
Man, play of the day. I can't help but feel that the Gushin play was just very
It really
standout.
tops it, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it's so
Yep.
unnatural and so rare to see. It might make it up there, but we'll have to see, man. There's that novelty factor, right? The fact that we don't see the Gushin for so long.
Now, in case you're wondering, this is the updated group standings. Remember that 4 of these teams might already be in an awkward spot. Now, hopefully, this might just be enough. Falcon currently sitting happily, very happily with 2 games win. Team SMG as well, 2-round win. Imperial as well as Lil Gun. They're all in the safe zone for now, but that could change almost instantaneously as the rest of the teams from Group A and as well as Group B look to catch back up to the rest of the pack. Now, looking at our schedule for tomorrow, Imperial is going to be up against Lil Gun. Falcon up against Nightmare. KBG versus Umbrella Squad for Miracle up against Team SMG.
I must say, man, on paper, I mean, at first glance at least, you're seeing that a lot of these matchups don't really resemble the first, like the first day's matches, you know? Imperial against Lil Gun, it seems that they're a bit more similar in a sense, how they execute, how they plan out. So I think it's a very fresh set of matches here that won't really replicate what we've seen in day 1.
Do you agree with that, or do you think they're similar? I saw you kind of perk up there for a second.
I think, personally, my thoughts about it is that what's interesting about going from day 1 to day 2 of a tournament like this is now that we have some context about these teams, we know who these players are, the matchups actually become that much more exciting. Because there's a sense of knowing what to expect, but also the wonder of the unknown.
Okay, that's one way of putting it. It's tough to just believe that because teams who have taken an 0-2 will be on the brink of elimination. And that's a scary thought to have for some of these teams who have come and flown so far away to get here in Malaysia to play for their slot in M5. We're going to throw it over to our host. That's going to be enough of us here at the caster's desk. We'll see you guys in a bit.
The historic opener of the M5 World Championship wildcard stage was nothing short of amazing, Lafel. It's just the first day, but we were already treated to a variety of MLBB playstyles from emerging regions all over the world.
That's the craziest thing. It's just the first day. We have 3 more days to see all 8 amazing teams battling it out, where 2 teams will be going to the Philippines to play at the main stage, the M5 World Championship.
Lafel, you know, I've been meaning to ask you backstage,
Sure.
but you know what? I'm just gonna ask you right here.
All right, what you got?
You saw all the teams.
All the teams.
Out of all the teams, which one are you really looking forward to see again?
All right, you know what? I'm not gonna go for the biased answer.
You
Here's the
cannot.
thing.
You cannot say SMG.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. The team lost. This team lost. I'm gonna talk about Umbrella Squad.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
Even though they lost, they picked up amazing heroes. They picked up the Gushin. They picked up the Leomord.
Troublemaker.
I love the creativity, and I want to see more. And I hope the best for the team.
Oh, for sure, for sure. They're gonna try to make a comeback.
Now that I've said that, they probably would lose. My curse is a little bit strong.
You have a curse.
I have a
You have a
curse.
curse going on.
Oh, yeah.
Just like Mirko.
What about you?
Well, I would have to say the Falcons.
The Falcons?
First of all,
Amazing team.
I was really looking forward to Leo's comeback. He really stands out as a jungler.
Definitely.
Not only that, if you take a look at the team, right? Their playstyle is at par with the meta, and I feel like they can really go against the strong teams, the stronger regions in the M5. And not only that, they can be a little bit unpredictable. They can go both ways, but when they're good, they're really good.
Based on today, they're top of the standings. Now, for all of you guys watching, I know you have your bets as well. You got your guest coins for the team. So join us again tomorrow for more Mobile Legends Bang Bang action. My name is Afel.
And my name is Mara Aquino, reminding everybody who aims to be legendary to be
Better than great.
See you tomorrow, everybody.
energy's getting higher. You're saving my arms. 'Cause I know just what I got. I got you like na-na-na. And you know I hold the power. It's real that I love. Oh, yeah. Making my grind good to great. So don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. We are fun, nothing gon' change. Great. We are better than great.
Can't get it great, I'm better than great. I play my own role, I become the greatest. Transcend myself into this game, yeah. I build a power to dominate fate. Championship mind, no time for the weak. What's up to the game? Shot reveal, better than great, that's how we feel.
I feel like the floor is lava. The energy's getting higher. You're saving my arms. 'Cause I know just what I got. I got you like na-na-na. And you know I hold the power. It's real that I love. Oh, yeah. Making my grind good to great. So don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. We are firm, nothing gon' change. Great. We are better than great. If we stand tall and believe we can make it, you and me, with a sense of urgency, you'll see I'm better than great. I'm better than great. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm better than. Making my grind good to great. So don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. We are firm, nothing gon' change. Great. We are better than great.
Hit me like I might kick over, but you could give me in no corner. I know I can make a comeback. Ace this round and finish this game now. Got the power on my shoulders. Yeah, you know that I'm a soldier. You can keep me off my guard, but you can't keep me from my honor.
Na. I feel like the floor is lava. The energy's getting higher. You're saving my arms. 'Cause I know just